Let's bring back in then the former Liverpool striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, who's at the KP this afternoon alongside Talksport's Adam Bridge. Adam, I just wanted to go back to the performance you saw from Leicester last week and the lack of effort, the lack of fight that you were talking about. Surely this Charlton side, no matter how poor their form has been, could sense this as an opportunity today.
Absolutely, and that's what happened with Oxford last week. You know, Oxford have been in a dreadful run of form, not great away from home. They managed to pick up a win the week before, and they managed to get back-to-back victories because they were excellent. They really took it to this Leicester side, and you'd expect more of that from Charlton today. It's just the sort of thing that Nathan Jones will set up his team to do. Their away form has been fairly wretched. They've only won 2 games all season, but look at the 2 games they've won away from home: Sheffield United and Ipswich. You know, you can't get 2 better victories away from home in the Championship than that. So you would expect them to come here and they will smell Fox's blood. I think there's no 2 ways about it. They will want to get into this team. It's interesting talking to Marty Cifuentes after the game last week. He said our game plan was to, try and be positive, but as soon as we let a goal in, that went out the window. And that's the key. If Charlton can start early here and get an early goal, the confidence and the fight in this Leicester side is so fragile, it'll be there for the taking for them.
And I tell you what, Courtney, win and they'll move within 3 points of the Foxes as well. And given the form there that Adam's just laid out, especially away from home, it's quite remarkable, really, isn't it? And that's why both of you are saying that Leicester so easily can be dragged into this.
Yeah, massively. And we've talked about it a lot with the Championship, but I think especially this season, it is so tight all across the table. So yes, a couple of wins puts you in a better situation, but also if you go on obviously a losing run, you're in big trouble. And I think, for Charlton, looking at it, Norwich have picked up form just at the right time. I think, they've had 3 consecutive wins, is it now? So sort of they're on their coattails, only a point off them with a game in hand. So they'll be really looking to try and push them. And as you say, if they win today and go within 3 points of Leicester City, it's fantastic for them, especially as you mentioned with their away form. But I think one thing you always know with a Nathan Jones side, although we mentioned it last week with sort of the 4-0 pummeling, he wasn't very happy with that, was he? But you will always get fight from this side, always with a Nathan Jones side. And as Adam mentioned quite rightly, I think if they get the first goal today, it could be Charlton's day.
What have you made of Charlton under Jones this season? Because it started so well, it's then been a bit of a slump. How nervously should they be looking over their shoulder at the drop?
Yeah, they have to, because realism tells us that they're not that far from the drop. Portsmouth, what are they on, the 30 points, and in 21st place, Blackburn are on 29 in that relegation zone, so it's close. And as we mentioned, yes, 3 points puts them close to Leicester City, but if they don't get the 3 points today and then West Brom pick up points from somewhere, or Portsmouth, then they're in a tough situation. But I like what they've done in terms of bringing the likes of Lyndon Dykes in and Clark, and as we mentioned earlier, Connor Cody bringing that experience in. So look, they will work hard, they will fight to the end, and then they've added that little bit of experience, and they'll be hoping that that'll be enough for them to stay in the Championship.
Courtney, thanks very much indeed. Remember, there's so much live football for you this weekend on the Talksport network. Following our lunchtime game, we're going to be at Loftus Road as the league leaders Coventry come to town, looking to maintain their charge towards promotion. Then at 8 o'clock tonight, it's Liverpool against Newcastle from the Premier League, live on Talksport. Always a memorable fixture, with both sides battling for a place in Europe. And don't miss Game Day Live tomorrow, by the way, with Sam Matterface bringing you all of the Premier League action from 1:30. First though, Leicester will be hoping for some king power from their interim boss to pull them up the table, but this is a chance for Charlton to pick up some precious points in their fight to stay in the Championship. How will this one unfold then? Let's join our commentators, the former Liverpool women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, but first, your match commentator Adam Bridge.
Thanks, Ollie. Good afternoon, everyone. 10 years on from winning the Premier League, Leicester find themselves in no man's land. 14th in the league and only 6 points off the playoffs, but the spectre of that 10-point deduction is looming large, which would see them plunged into the relegation zone and potentially on a fast track to League One. The dismissal of Marty Cifuentes on Sunday afternoon sums up where Leicester are at, really. The owner doing press interviews earlier in the day stating the manager needed more time. Well, he was given about 4 hours. It's not just results, though. Performances, style of play, recruitment. I mean, I could go on. That's got the fans in a spin following last season's dismal Premier League campaign. Charlton come here on the back of a 4-0 thumping from Millwall, and aside from those wins we mentioned, Ipswich and Sheffield United, they found life on the road in the Championship quite tricky. But they'll probably know this could be the best time to go fox hunting. You have to go back to Chris Powell's stewardship in 2013 for their last win here. But with 5 new January signings, Nathan Jones will be hoping his Addicts can provide a supreme performance and secure that first away win since October. There are plenty of empty seats around the King Power Stadium. Leicester are out in their all-blue strip, shirts, shorts and socks. It's red shirts, white shorts and red socks as ever for Charlton, of course. And here's how they line up today, the home side. Stolarczyk in goal. It's Thomas, Nelson, Okoli and Pereira across the back. Chowdhury and Page in midfield, with Mavadidi, Decordova-Reid and Fatawu providing the support to Jordan Ayew, who is up top. As for Charlton, they start with Kaminsky in goal. Ramsey, Jones and Cody are the back three. Clark, Bell, Doherty and Chambers stretched across midfield, with Carey, Dykes and Leeburn leading the line for Nathan Jones' side. The two bench, Harry Winks is back for Leicester. Daka, Marcel, Monga, Begovic, Thomas, Cover, Aluko and Gray. As for Charlton, Gillespie, Coventry, Campbell, Berry, Kelman, Godden, Mannion the keeper, Rankin Costello and Fevrier, another new signing who joined this week on loan from Stockport County. Andrew Kitchen is the man in charge of this game, and they've won only one of their last 10 league games at Leicester, have Charlton. They'll look to put that right today, and they are going to defend the goal away to our right hand side, and it is going to be Leicester who will get us underway in the sunshine in the East Midlands. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk's had a very short journey to work today, which she's very much enjoyed, and she'll be hoping that Leicester, just to keep her neighbours happy, maybe perform quite well today.
Yeah, exactly. I'm taking lifts home actually, and I'll have 2 Leicester fans in the car, so it makes my life easier if they're a happier bunch today.
Well, not the start that either side wanted, really. Lyndon Dykes is down on the floor, as is Hamza Chowdhury. A clash of heads here, probably about 10 yards inside the Charlton half, and it's going to be some treatment here for Dykes, who's signed, of course, from Birmingham City, wearing the 99. He's going to lay flat on his back for the moment, and he'll need a little bit of treatment. Connor Cody just geeing up Miles Leeburn and Greg Doherty, who's the captain here today, of course. Cody making his way from Wrexham. Didn't really work out for him at Wrexham. We saw him a few times early in the season. He was playing quite deep at times, not really how Wrexham wanted to play. So no surprise he's got his move in January, and the experience he brings will just help this Charlton side.
It's massive, and look, he's still got a lot to offer, as you say, for whatever reason. One D mentioned, and others it didn't quite work out for him at Wrexham, but I think he's still got a lot to offer at this Championship level, and he'll need every bit of experience to help this team, and I'm sure that's why Nathan Jones brought him in.
4 defeats at home in total this season for Leicester City, which is almost unheard of. They've all come in the last 9 as well. When you compare that, they only lost 5 all season in that promotion campaign of 23-24, of course, where they were so impressive, particularly here at the King Power Stadium. But confidence, the supporters not really on their side, and well, there are an awful lot of empty seats here today. I'll admit that there aren't as many empty here. There are more empty seats today than there were last week against Oxford.
Yeah, and it's strange because for so many years gone by now, it's been so difficult to get a ticket. Actually, my best friend's little boy's here today. And it shows because there are tickets going back on sale, and people are able to get them, whereas, as you say, for the last few years we've not been able to get a ticket. It's been packed out. It's normally such a noisy stadium, but it's been very quiet of late.
We're back underway with a Thomas long throw in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Ayew is there to try and win it first time. Chowdhury tries to get a shot away. So does Decordova-Reid on the left-hand side of the box. And again, we now have another head injury. 2 players down, this time for Charlton at the edge of the 6-yard box. Lyndon Dykes hasn't even made his way back onto the field of play yet. And while they receive treatment, Bobby Decordova-Reid is looking at himself thinking, I really should have made a better connection on that.
Yeah, I think so. But as well, after that, Doherty flies into a challenge with Hamza Chowdhury. He's so lucky he gets the ball because his leg is so high. But Ayew does well to put a little bit of pressure on Ramsey. Decordova-Reid just doesn't connect with the ball whatsoever. He'll be very frustrated with that one.
Well, I think it's Connor Cody and Miles Leeburn that are the 2 players involved in this collision. I think Cody's up and about and he's fine. But at the moment, I think Lieben is still down on the floor, receiving some treatment. Again, a clash of heads right at the edge of that 6-yard area. Mentioned earlier, the chairman is here today. I think he's probably attended 2 games since back in November. He was here last week as well, and we mentioned, did all those press interviews. I mean, it is a football club at the moment that's a little bit rudderless in terms of leadership. No chief executive. There is an interim. There's no commercial director, no sporting director, and what it appears, no kind of real strategy.
And that's the thing. We were talking about it with Ollie and the build-up, and it's the thing. Cifuentes had his issues. There's no doubt about that as a manager. But when you look at that with the hierarchy of the club and the lack of staff, the lack of what it seems to in terms of a philosophy, not just on the pitch but throughout the club, and direction, and how is a manager meant to manage when above him there is no direction?
Well, it's always the problem. And then the other side of it was the Andy King in temporary charge. Who is going to want to come with that kind of potential 10 points hanging over them, with the fact that you're almost forced into playing the likes of Jordan Ayew, who's playing as a number 9. His record in English football does not say he's a great number 9.
He's never been a number 9. He's a wide forward at best, isn't he?
Decordova-Reid, who is probably, I'm not going to say he's past his best days, but again, the options of who they can play because of the wages. Patson Daka sat down on the bench. I mean, we heard a goal in the intro of today's programme. Cripes knows where we found that from. I'm surprised it wasn't on a gramophone somewhere, but it was that long ago probably, because he offers very little.
Exactly, and then so that's where you look at it in terms of who wants to take it on and what this club needs now, and it's going to be someone that's either wanting an opportunity coming up from League One or at the sort of been at the bottom end of the Championship. And obviously, like we were saying, 10 years ago, this club won the Premier League. It's won the FA Cup since then. It's had Champions League nights here. So that's how quickly, if a club isn't ran in the right way, that it can change.
Sometimes, though, a taste of the good stuff cannot be a good thing for long-term strategy, and I think that's probably where Leicester have been caught. The only name we've seen mentioned really so far, Gary Rowett, of course, who was sacked by Oxford because they didn't think he could keep them in the Championship. So whether he could do something similar and try and drive Leicester City up the table, who knows? But it's Andy King, the man in charge for now. We've not really had much football, and we're 6 minutes into this game, 2 lengthy stoppages for head injuries, but we are back underway here on Talksport 2. We'll of course keep you abreast of the other 12:30 kickoffs this lunchtime around the EFL. No Premier League early game today, of course. We will have that live and exclusive for you tonight. It's been shifted to 8 o'clock this evening because of our Champions League games, of course. That's Liverpool against Newcastle United. It's over on Talksport from 8 this evening. A good early call there from Stolarczyk. He's come 10 yards outside his penalty area as Dykes was chasing onto a through ball over the top and has managed to volley it clear. 3 times this season, errors from Stolarczyk have led to goals, and he does, as a Leicester City supporter, I think, have fans' hearts in their mouths every now and then.
Yeah, it's a conversation actually I was having with a friend on the way in, asking, what do you reckon, Stolarczyk, or would you rather Begovic in? And a lot were saying they'd rather Begovic, a safe pair of hands.
On that far side, it's a cross coming over from Harry Clark, but he's just drilled it straight out of play. One interesting tactical thing here for Charlton, Courtney. We joked a little bit earlier, wondering, because we read something saying that Conor Cody may well play in central midfield, and he looks like he is anchoring the midfield today. Yeah,
but I think what it's doing, because they're playing 3 at the back with the wing backs, he's almost, you see now, out of possession, they're going back into a 4. So in terms of the wing backs, he's giving them licence to get forward, which I love, because it shows then, look at Charlton, they're on the front pass from the Leicester goal kick, so they want to be high and they want to be aggressive and put them under pressure early.
Yeah, I've seen this a couple of times in the last few weeks, this kind of 3 and then a 1 doing that sitting role. It's Cody who's doing that today. Bell is the other centre half who we thought may be the one who dropped into midfield. Long ball over the top here for Charlton. A really good race on there on that far side. Miles Lieben was chasing after it, and in the end the ball's gone out of play and it will be a throw in on that far side. Now Andrew Kitchener, referee, coming over to have a word with the 4th official, Edward Duckworth, and I think we have a problem with his technical gear. With this game so far is very stop-start.
We can't get going, can we?
No, we're almost 8 minutes in here, and very little football played. Nathan Jones is laughing about it. I'm sure he's not impressed, although maybe a stop-start game would suit his Charlton side as they come to try and disrupt Leicester. It will be a Leicester throw on the far side, deep within their own half, and it will be taken on that left-hand side by Thomas. It looks like the battery pack is all good for Andrew Kitchen. No, the battery pack is actually for the assistant on the far side. So the referee is just facilitating the change of power in their communication equipment. Everything not really ticking into place so far this morning, but never mind.
I think you're right though, Adam. You say it in tongue-in-cheek, but in terms of having a bit of a stop-start game, that will certainly help Nathan Jones and his side. They'll want to try and break up any momentum and halt Leicester from having any, because on their day, Leicester are the better footballing side, I would say. But we've seen this season that's not always been the case. On their day, it hasn't been necessarily very often, and I think definitely Charlton have come here to disrupt and be really aggressive and on the front foot from the start.
Well, I think this is going to take a couple of minutes for them to sort out on that far side. It's goalless in all the early kickoffs today. The other two games in the Championship, Sheffield Wednesday against Wrexham and Stoke against Southampton, both those games goalless so far. As we mentioned, Liverpool-Newcastle tonight from 8 o'clock on Talksport. That's our live and exclusive Premier League commentary for you today. We're going around the grounds over on Talksport from 1 with Adrian Durham, Mickey Gray and Charlie Adam alongside Adrian for that one today. Leeds against Arsenal, the big 3 o'clock kickoff. And here on Talksport 2, we've got the leaders in action. Queen's Park Rangers against Coventry. Big time for Frank Lampard's side. Questions being asked. How will they respond down at Queen's Park Rangers today? You'll hear that from 3 o'clock this afternoon here on Talksport. And there's a little bonus for you tomorrow evening on the Talksport YouTube channel in partnership with DAZN. We've got Cremonese against Inter for you from Serie A. That's at 5 o'clock tomorrow evening on the Talksport YouTube channel. Right. It looks like we've got batteries in. He's got his shirt back on. We're ready to go on the far side. Well, I would say we're probably going to have about 8 minutes added already at the end of this first half. It's Thomas on that far side who'll lift the ball forward for Leicester up towards halfway. I will fight hard for it. Amari Bell's going to chase this one back and goes all the way back to Kaminski away to our right hand side in the Charlton goal, who lifts a long ball forward looking for Dykes, doesn't find him, but now the ball is brought down by Lieber, and on this occasion Dykes tried to get after it. De Cordova-Reid will give it to Page, and Page will drive through the centre circle for Leicester down that left hand side. He's got support on that far touchline from Mavididi, looking to cut in onto his right foot as ever, goes short to Hamza Chowdhury. Thomas to Chowdhury again, midway inside the Charlton half. Pereira now has tucked in as an inverted fullback, of course, into that central midfield role, and now Chowdhury's there with Pereira supporting him. It means there's just two at the back for Leicester at this moment in time. They got caught by Oxford last week playing this particular tactic, and actually scored a goal from it, Oxford, which turned out to be the winner in the game. But this time they've got it covered, and Nelson will go back to Stolarczyk, and here on this right hand side will come Caleb Okoli. He goes a little more direct this time, through ball towards the edge of the box. Mavididi lays it down. De Cordova-Reid's shot is blocked at the edge of the penalty area by on that occasion Bell, and it clips through. In fact, it was Ramsey who made the block, and then the following shot from Page is wide of the right hand post of Kaminski.
Yeah, it's not bad from Leicester City though. Initially it's a bit stop-start in the build-up, a couple of stray passes, then that long ball from Okoli. It's a nice little touch actually from Mavididi into the path of De Cordova-Reid, and he hits it well enough. It's just really good defending from Ramsey to get himself in the right place at the right time.
Stoke 0, Southampton 1. Finn Azaz with the early goal in one of the other 12:30 kickoffs this lunchtime, and Bradford are ahead against Donny as well. Bit of a Yorkshire derby. Oh, they were, but it's not now. No, it's disappeared. So there we go. Bristol are in front against Newport. They're Bristol Rovers. Newport, of course, struggling in League 2. Bristol Rovers have the lead there in the opening 13 minutes. We've had 12 minutes here, but very little football. It remains Leicester 0, Charlton 0 on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. Throw down that right hand side. Clark will get it forward, and Okoli's there to head it clear. Little touch that time from De Cordova-Reid has just played them into a little bit of trouble down that right hand side. Sonny Carey was trying to work it towards the corner flag. They've got it clear, Leicester, but only up towards halfway. Ramsey wins it nicely, and then Cody safely back to Bell, and they'll just keep possession. Doherty just sitting in front of Cody in that midfield for Charlton. Comes down nicely for Lieben, and then to Dykes. Lieben again towards the edge of the penalty area. Lieben hits the shot, blocked by Nelson. Ricochets nicely for Lieben again to try and have a second attempt, but Thomas has to clear it from the edge of his own penalty area.
Yeah, all the Charlton fans in the opposite corner shouting shoot, and it's a It's a good area, 20 odd yards out, but I think Clark was in a better position just to the right hand side. If you slip him down, it gives opportunity then for the players to get in the box, but it's been a positive little passage of play from Charlton.
Chambers back to Doherty, and now with Amari Bell. Here's Jones from midway inside his own half. Left-footed ball clipped forward, headed up in the air by Nelson. Jones has started every single Championship game for Charlton. Here's Stolarczyk's come out to get that under pressure from Lieben. Gets it clear again from about 5 or 6 yards outside his own penalty area. Taken down by Mavididi. Chowdhury then combines with Thomas, who just skips away from Carey's challenge. Here's Mavididi on that far side towards the edge of the penalty area. Cuts inside onto his right foot. Pereira from the edge of the box tees it up for Page. Page to the right hand side for Tawu. Chance to deliver on that left peg of his. Gets it across to the edge of the penalty area, but it's hacked clear on this occasion once more by Clark. And then Lieben's brought down. Is he by Okoli on that far side? He is. It's a red card. Okoli's gone. Sent off. It goes from bad to worse for Leicester City. They're down to 10 men in the 15th minute of the game here at the King Power. It's Okoli who takes down Lieben when he was racing through, only about 15 yards inside the Leicester City half, but Okoli made the decision to deal with his man, and it's a clear goal scoring opportunity that has been denied by Okoli, and he sees red.
Adam, I can't understand why he's arguing it. Even his captain Pereira has gone over to sort of say just come out the way, because Lieben does ever so well. He gets his body first and foremost when the ball comes up to him. He protects it ever so well, and by the way, this comes from a Leicester City attack, and then the fact that he holds the ball up ever so well, and then he gets the turn on Okoli. Okoli has got such a handful of his shirt. Now I think he's probably trying to argue that Nelson can come across, but not for me. It's the right decision by the referee, and it's just absolute stupidity from Okoli. It's as simple as that.
Well, you called it straight away. As soon as you saw it, you knew it was a red card. Okoli's gone. It will mean a shuffle around required here for Leicester. They are looking towards the bench as to the potential changes that could be made defensively. In the meantime, free kick for Charlton against the 10 of Leicester. On that far side, about 15 yards inside the Leicester half, towards the edge of the penalty area. And Lloyd Jones with a foul on Pereira at the edge of the box. And it will be a free kick for Stolarczyk to take for the home side at the edge of the penalty area. And Andy King with decisions to make early on here. Yeah,
and look, this is so difficult, and why I would never ever step into management, because you can't train for that. Obviously, I know there's situations where you train and you're down to 10 players and you're dealing with overloads, but in terms of individual decision making for players, you can't account for it, and that's what's happened there for Andy King.
Well, they got caught, as I mentioned, for that Oxford second goal last week. We're playing quite high. I mean, they were playing a high line. There was no two ways about it. On that occasion, Mark Harris made his run from inside his own penalty, inside his own half, and then ran the length of the field to do that. It looks like it's going to be Olabade Aluko is the player who is going to come on. So where does the sacrifice come? I'm going to guess it might be Decordova-Reid who gets sacrificed here, and they play without a 10. And more of a 4-4-1 formation.
I would think so. And it's a mountain to climb, isn't it?
It is 0-0, 17 minutes played. Charlton, though, have a man advantage down this left-hand side. That's taken on nicely this time by Chambers towards the corner flag. Pereira gets back and does well. Well fought, though, by Chambers. Early cross into the box. Chance to shoot, and it is. It's a shot from Dykes as he spins and turns, and it's blocked really well that time by Ben Nelson. Only cleared out, though, as far as Carey. Sonny Carey helps it to the right-hand side. Harry Clark is there. Back to Carey again. Goes to Clark on that far side. They're playing with patience here, Charlton. Cody switches play to this left-hand side. Chambers has it. Goes back to Amari Bell, trying to make that extra man count as things stand, while they still wait to make the change here. Leicester City. Ramsey to that far touchline. Harry Clark, the wing-back, has it once more. Back inside again to Kane Ramsey. Now Jones. A Bell on this left-hand side. Left-footed, ball towards the edge of the penalty area, taken down nicely. There's a little pull in the back potentially, you feel, on Lieben, but Kitchen waves it away. Out of play on the far side. Leicester want to make the change, but Charlton have taken this throw very quickly, although I think Andrew Kitchen's going to allow them to make the change. And yes, it is Bobby De Cordova-Reid who's going to be sacrificed.
Yeah, and going back to that Lee Byrne opportunity, he does ever so well and he's so strong. We saw it obviously for sending off for Okoli in the same net. In terms of when the ball comes into him, I think it's Nelson, isn't it, that's on his back shoulder, and there's contact, but it's not enough for a penalty. We know in terms of now what the referees are looking at and the certain sort of levels of contact, and it wasn't high enough to give a penalty. But he's been a real problem so far for Charlton already. Lee Byrne, he looks very, very good. His stature, he's a big player, he's got pace, he's strong, and he's going to give that Leicester defence a bit of a torrid time, I think.
Luco is on, 4th appearance of the season, 3rd off the bench for him. Did get a red card against Southampton earlier on in the season as well. And he's on for the red-carded Okoli, who had started the last 8 games having missed 7 through a shoulder injury. Didn't do too much, just 3 Premier League starts last season, Okoli, after he joined the club. He's certainly been a mainstay of that centre-back pairing when fit for Leicester City. He's taking an early bath today, though. 19 minutes played here. Leicester 0, Charlton 0, but Leicester down to 10 men already on Talksport 2. Good work that time by Doherty. Picked up by Bell, midway inside his own half. Cody, clever ball out to the right-hand side to set Harry Clark away. Plenty of runners here in red shirts as they stride forward. Carey was there, of course, into the box looking for Lee Byrne, and it had to be headed over the bar by Nelson and behind for a corner for Charlton.
Yeah, he does well there, Nelson. He has to get to it because it's a wonderful ball in, and just look at those 2 centre to forwards, or 2 of the, that forward 3 in terms of Lee Byrne and Lyndon Dykes. They are big, strong centre forwards. They're all over that Leicester City defensive line, and they just can't handle them at the moment. It's as simple as that.
Corner down this left-hand side. Carey towards the back post and bundled in. No, the referee's given a foul. Stolarczyk is on his back. Looked like it was bundled in at the far post. I think Harry Clark felt he'd got the touch on that, but Andrew Kitchen, the man in charge, says no, and it will be a free kick for Leicester. Yeah,
it was Clark on the line. It literally just falls on his head. It's a wonderful ball in, and I think that it probably is a foul, but there's an element of Stolarczyk coming and flapping in that, and you know what, we get the replays here at the King Power, and it's as much his own player causing a problem in Page than anything else, and that's ridiculous that's been disallowed, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's not a foul on Stolarczyk at all, is it? That should have stood. Harry Clark, perfectly good goal, disallowed. I don't even think there is a foul on Stolarczyk, to be honest with you, let alone whether he's impeded by his own player. There's just no attempt by any Charlton player to actually impede him in any way, shape or form. I think the referee and his assistant have got that one wrong. 21 minutes played, Leicester 0, Charlton 0, but Leicester down to 10 men here at the King Power on Talksport 2. Here's Cody, back to Bell. Jones, in the heart of the Charlton defence, has time and space to stride forward to the edge of the centre circle, then clips the ball to the left-hand side to Luke Chambers, who was always in an offside position. Just took a moment or two for the assistant on the far side to raise his flag.
He's getting a right earful from Nathan Jones, and that's a cardinal sin as a wide player. He can see across the line, he goes too early, and Nathan is still not stopped. 20-30 seconds of the hairdryer in that left ear.
Well, he hooked him at half-time last week, didn't he, in the game against Millwall? It was his first start, having arrived on loan, and came from Liverpool, of course. As they had a couple of loan spells at Wigan as well, but he was hooked at half-time on his debut for Charlton. In that game, they lost 4-0, so he paid the price for that one, that's for sure. Headed away by Amari Bell from the edge of his own penalty area. Must not be pleasant when you're hooked on your debut at half-time. That can't be a nice feeling. No,
but other than that, Chambers, in terms of being offside, he's been quite good today. It was a situation where the ball goes down that left-hand side, and I think Pereira's trying to shepherd the ball out, and he does ever so well to keep it alive, Chambers, and that's what Charlton are going to have to do in terms of using the width. They wanted to do that already, but especially now that Leicester are down to 10 and are trying to be really compact, all the spaces down the width of the pitch, and as I say, then when you've got 2 monsters in terms of Lee Byrne and Dykes in the air, so get it in the wide areas, get the crosses in, that's how they're going to get the joy.
I get the feeling Nathan Jones has seen a replay of that disallowed goal because he was just in the ear of the fourth official a few moments ago. Understandably so. Great tackle from Cody. He's wiped out for Tawu there and won the ball for Charlton on this near side. Back to Doherty. Here's Jones on halfway. The visitors having all of the ball right now. To that right-hand side again with Ramsey. He'll go back to Jones on this near side. And it's down this left-hand touchline where Bell looks to try and get the ball forward to the advancing Doherty. Chambers was tucked in on this near side, but he will now come across to take the throw. Nathan Jones just telling him to calm down. He's certainly a high-octane, high-energy manager, Nathan Jones, prowling that technical area.
So the irony of Nathan Jones telling people to calm down never goes amiss, does it?
It's Ramsey back to Bell on halfway on this left-hand side. We're beyond the midway point of the first half. It's still 0-0 here on Talksport 2. Adam Bridge and Courtney Sweetman Kirk at the King Power, bringing you our first EFL game of the day as Leeburn fouls Chowdhury, and it's going to be a free kick for Leicester, probably 10-15 yards outside their own penalty area. Chowdhury rolling around on the floor. Maybe this could be a tactical moment, an opportunity for Leicester to reset things a little bit. Although Chowdhury's up and about.
Yeah, there's a little bit of contact, but I probably do think there's an element of Chowdhury taking his time. He's an experienced player now, so he'll know that he can just try and take a few seconds to settle the side down. Although, for me, I just think it's going to be wave after wave from Charlton, and rightly so. They've started extremely well, even before the sending off. You could see their intent in terms of the aggression, the high press, and that will certainly continue.
Yeah, I'm very surprised we haven't seen Stolarczyk fall to the ground and need some treatment to allow a drinks break and a regathering of Andy King's side. But Stolarczyk has this free kick midway inside his own half, 25 minutes played. Leicester 0, Charlton 0, but Leicester are down to 10 men. Stolarczyk just waiting before he takes this kick. Again, Nathan Jones saying to the fourth official, what's the delay for? They're trying to find Ayew, but it's a towering header away by Nathan Jones up towards Leeburn via a flick on by Lyndon Dykes. It's away by Nelson, who's the senior man at the heart of that defence now for Leicester City. Back towards the edge of their own penalty area with Bell.
Chowdhury's not right, he's down again. I don't think he's going to continue. Bad to worse for Leicester. Yeah,
more problems for Andy King to try and deal with. There's been a goal in League One this afternoon in the early kickoffs there, and that's Bolton who've got it this time. Wimbledon 0, Bolton 1 is the scoreline. Reminder elsewhere in the Championship, still Sheffield Wednesday 0, Wrexham 0, Stoke 0, Southampton 1. And then so far in League 2 this lunchtime, Bristol Rovers lead Newport by a goal to 0, and it's Grimsby 0, MK Dons 1. Well, here's a chance for Leicester to maybe just to regroup for a few seconds here. Andy King to get his instructions across. Obviously removing Decordova-Reid has meant a slight shuffle. I mean, Hamza Chowdhury was interesting because last week, again, of all the players you expect to show a bit of fight against Oxford, Chowdhury just wasn't himself either. But with the options they've got in midfield, Sumare obviously left yesterday, Skip is out with a concussion for the second week in a row. They are very light on numbers.
Yeah, extremely. So they won't want to see Hamza Chowdhury go off, and he's got that adaptability, isn't he? Because he can play in midfield. He also plays a lot at right back, so it's always good to have a player like that within your squad. But now, if he has to come off, it's going to give Andy King quite a headache, I would say.
Well, I think it's going to be a Harry Winks type headache, isn't it? Yeah. Really, because of the options that are available. He's probably the most obvious, despite not having featured for the first team since November. Very much out the way under Cifuentes. And yep, Harry Winks, I think that's what he still looks like. Haven't seen him for a while, but he's down getting stripped, I think, on the bench, because Chowdhury is not going to be able to continue. And this is not going well for Andy King in the opening 27 minutes or so.
It's worst case scenario, isn't it? Player sent off, having to bring another player off through injury. And I think the only sort of light at the end of the tunnel in this moment is the fact that it's still 0-0. And we'll be honest, in terms of that corner that the goal was disallowed, they should be 1-0 down, because that should have never been disallowed, that goal.
No, and here is Harry Winks. And interestingly enough, a crowd rising for Chowdhury, but also I think potentially for the return of Harry Winks, because I saw him come on at half-time when they played Oxford down at the Kassam earlier in the season, and he made all the difference. His ability to move the ball around was something that I think they were lacking a little last week.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say that we sort of alluded to it in terms of a lot of his issue has been off the field by the sounds of it. There's no doubt he's got tremendous quality, and on the pitch he makes the team a better side, but managers have to make these decisions on not just in terms of on football on the pitch, but also in the dressing room and what makes the team function best. And there's been sort of reasons that he's not been in and around the squad, and that hasn't been the case, but all he can do now he's been given the opportunity to be back in and around the squad and back on the pitch. He needs to show it with his feet.
Well, I was chatting to a Leicester fan pre-game and mentioned Harry Winks, and they said they'd rather not have him, but there we go. He's in the centre of that midfield alongside Page.
I think there's a few players you could say that about, but they'll probably end up without a squad. So,
well, that is the issue. I mean, Patson Daka, I mentioned him earlier. You've got the likes of Jordan Ayew. Over 350 league games he's played in England, and he's not reached 50 goals yet, which I think tells you he's not a number 9. Yeah,
and I think it then becomes the reason why you may be playing players. And I mentioned sort of times that lack of effort, and Fatawi's one for me. He is a wonderfully gifted player, but you see at times he coasts through games, but because he's got that ability, and then there's, in terms of the depth of the squad, there's no one to push him, you almost have to play him even when he's walking around for 90 minutes, because on occasion, and we saw it against West Brom for example, he can pop one in on the volley from sort of 16 yards, and that's the issue with Leicester in terms of that recruitment we're talking about, the lack of direction and philosophy, letting players go and not re-recruiting properly. I mean, we didn't even talk about Jamie Vardy and the fact they had 30, was he 37 when he left? 36. Yep. So you've had a good 3 or 4 years to try and think about a succession plan, which they never did, and that again speaks to the issues within the club higher up.
Winks does well on the ball on that occasion, just giving it back to Stolarczyk just to buy a couple of moments of time really there for the Leicester City side as they try and battle on here with 10 men. You mentioned Fatawu, actually. There's only 2 players in the Championship that had more shots than Fatawu, them being Adam Armstrong at Southampton and Enis Mehmeti, of course, who was at Bristol City, now at Ipswich, and boy could Bristol City have done with him last night. Absolute humbling here on Talksport 2 from Derby County at home. Referee says no foul on that far side on Sonny Carey, and it's out for a throw which Charlton will have. Carey's up and about, and he's told to get up and about as well by Luke Thomas on that occasion, and it's with Charlton midway inside their own half. First half has whizzed by. Remember, we lost probably the best part of 8 minutes at the start due to a couple of head injuries, so we've had 31 minutes on Talksport 2. Leicester 0, Charlton 0, but Leicester are down to 10 men after the sending off of Calabacoli. Forward it goes to halfway, picked out by Cody, outside of his right boot, gets it forward into the feet of Dykes, then continuing the run that time was Chambers, but he couldn't quite find him, and now the counter's on here for Leicester, and it's picked up by Mavadini now on this right hand side towards Fatawu, but he just runs it out of play, and it will be a throw on this near side for Coventry City midway inside their own half.
It's a problem for Leicester now. They're going to have to play on the counter attack, and you can see Andy King trying to G the players up. This is the thing, physically now it's going to be a lot. They're going to have to suffer today, Leicester City, to get anything out of this game.
Long ball forward towards Lieben, who tries to win it on that far side. He's got Thomas. Thomas has literally climbed all over his back and then splatted him to the ground, and it's a free kick for Charlton on that far side, and I just hope Luke Thomas wasn't remonstrating in any way, shape or form about that.
No, as I say, Lieben, the stature of him is so strong. He's an absolute monster, and he holds the ball up ever so well, and sometimes in situations like that is the only thing you can do.
I don't actually think he gave Lieben the option of giving him a piggyback. He just hopped on board. There was no doubt about that. Here's the free kick for Charlton, about a yard in from the far touchline. We're looking about 25 yards out from goal on that far side. It's going to be a right-footed delivery, no surprise. 7 fairly tall characters are lurking in red shirts inside the Leicester penalty area. Right-footed then, there's the delivery, edge of the 6-yard box, comes all the way through to Cody, who tries to set himself up for the volley against his former side, but important interception, I think, from Winks. Managed to just take it off his toes as he was about to hit that shot, and it's running to touch on this near side by Chambers and out for a Leicester throw.
I don't think it was expecting it, was he, Cody? He's at that back post area and the ball evades absolutely everyone, and first touch isn't bad, to be quite honest, but it just won't come down. It's one of them balls, it seems to hang up in the air for an age, and does ever so well Pereira initially to get a little bit of a touch on it, and then Wings manages to get the ball free.
His last goal was actually for Leicester. That was in the Premier League against Forest last May. And I think for a moment then his eyes lit up. Just couldn't get it down and under control. I tell you what though, this Cody playing in midfield, I'm here for this.
Yeah,
his composure on the ball.
Yeah, he looks really good, and as I say, then it gives a licence for Chambers and Clark to go forward as well. And especially, as I say, at this level, so experienced. Connor Cody's decent on the ball as well in terms of a technician. So he's that sort of player in the midfield rolling. He should have got the ball actually there into him on the half turn, ready to go forward, and just keeps everything really calm.
Yeah, very sensible. And remember, Cody is only 32 years of age, so plenty more years ahead of him. On loan till the end of the season with Charlton as they desperately try to stay in the Championship. Their first Championship season, of course, since they were relegated. That was 2020. 5 years in League One.
It's one of them players, Cody, isn't he? Because he's been around for so long and got so much experience. I think he's a little bit older than what he actually is.
Very much so. Right-footed forward from Jones. Flicked on that time by Lever, and just the wrong way for where the run of Dykes was being made. He'd run left, the ball span right. They keep it though on halfway. Ramsey forward to Clark. Clark slips a lovely ball in. Sonny Carey at the byline. Tries to pull it back, but just pulls it into the side netting. He'd got round the back that time of the defender, but just couldn't quite keep the ball in.
There's a little bit too much on that ball, but initially I liked it. It was really clever because I think everyone's expecting just that big whip ball in from Clark. Has a little bit of a disguise on it, and then he just plays it down the side, and it just needs half a yard off it. Carey tries, he might, can't quite keep it in, but again, those wide areas, that's where Charlton need to keep playing. That's where they will get the joy.
It was tight for offside, but the assistant on the far side didn't put his flag up, so in this wonderful world of no VAR, had something happened, it would have stood. 10 minutes to go to half time. Leicester 0, Charlton 0 on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. Leicester down to 10 men after Okoli's red card. Hooked forward by Fatawu, midway inside the Charlton half on this near touchline, but straight into the arms of Kaminsky, who bowls it out for Clark again down that right hand side. Clark on loan from Ipswich, charging forward, clips the ball into the box. Sonny Carey's arriving and finishing brilliantly at the second time of asking. It's that combination again, Clark and Carey, and Carey finishes this time in real style. 7th Championship goal of the season, and Charlton have the lead against the 10 of Leicester, and the problems mount at the King Power. Leicester 0, Charlton 1.
Well, there's a lot to like about this goal, and it starts from Kaminsky as well. It's a real team goal. They go forward quickly with purpose, Charlton, and as you say, that combination again of Clark and Carey, and Leicester City haven't really learnt their lesson. It's a very, very similar ball, just instead of being slipped down the side, it's just slipped from the wide area into out. And it's a lovely little first touch, maybe a little bit fortunate, don't get me wrong, but then it flicks over the defender, and then it's about who wants it. And I think Stalakic, he gets caught, he's flat-footed. I don't know whether he's maybe expecting Carey to hit it first time, but by that point then, Carey's already got the run on him. It's a little flick over Pereira, it's wonderful. Whether he means it or not, I'm not too sure, but he'll say he did mean it, and finishes extremely well with the onrush of Stalakic coming out.
It's a lovely flick with the right and the finish with the left from Sonny Carey. As we say, 7 Championship goals for the season. The goal against Sheffield United was his first in 13. On target once more for Charlton. 8 minutes to go to half time, and the visitors have the lead at the King Power. Little foul there, is it, from Pereira? No, according to him, on Miles Leeburn. Lieberman has just maybe hurt his shoulder when he went down. Looked like a foul from behind by Pereira, but instead the throw-in given Leicester City's way.
Yeah, sort of holding that arm, isn't he?
Yeah, looked like he landed quite awkwardly, I think, but Andrew Kitchen was in a good position. Does give a long throw, though, to Leicester, which will be taken by Luke Thomas.
These are the big situations now, Leicester. They're going to spend a lot of time under pressure, so your set pieces, your long throws, they've really got to make the most of.
Here he comes, about 35 yards out from this right-hand side. It's headed away that time by Ramsey. Then back into the danger zone and gathered at the edge of his 6-yard area by Kaminsky. And Lloyd Jones just said to everyone, calm down and clear out. And Kaminsky immediately finds Bell on this left-hand side. Just
thinking, is that 24 games now without a clean sheet for Leicester City? I think it's 24, around that. So
it is indeed 24.
It's just a big issue for them, isn't it? Normally, they're happy to try and outscore teams. I think they've got the quality, especially in Mavididi and Fatawa in those wide areas. But especially being down to 10 now, it seems like a big ask.
Well, they've scored 40 goals this season, have Leicester. Their conversion rate in terms of shots is incredibly good, actually. It's one of the highest in the Championship. However, they do have that third worst defence behind West Bromwich Albion and Sheffield Wednesday. And as Courtney rightly points out, 24 games now without a clean sheet. It was here in September against Coventry. Last time they had a Championship shutout. They did manage it against Charlton, of course, in the FA Cup. And it's their longest second-tier run without a clean sheet since the 1940s. That shows how bad it is. And well, you may remember there was a fairly lengthy run last season as well in the Premier League. The confidence of those defenders, you feel, is fairly brittle. Here's Mavididi. He's a player who never looks short of confidence when attacking. Has it on that far side. Gives it short to Page, who then finds Winks. And in the centre circle, it's the substitute, Aluko. Just short to Winks again, the other sub. And Pereira on this right-hand side is under pressure from Lieberman, who's still feeling that right shoulder a little bit after that challenge from Ricardo Pereira a few moments ago. Aluko, brave enough to get past Dykes and then continue his run forward towards the edge of the box. Dykes in with a challenge. Classic centre-forward challenge. He says, ref, I got the ball. The ref says it's a yellow card.
Well, he might have got the ball, but the problem is, as soon as you start diving in and go to ground from behind like that, you're always going to cause yourself a bit of a problem. And I do think he does get a touch on the ball. The problem is he comes through the side of the right ankle to get there. Punished.
Free kick to Leicester and a yellow card for Lyndon Dykes. More goals in League Two to tell you about. 2-0 now for Bristol Rovers against Newport, and MK Dons are 2-up away at Grimsby. FA Cup tie coming up for Grimsby soon, of course, Sunday the 15th. Wolves, the visitors. That's a game you'll hear live on Talksport too. 1:30 kick-off on the Sunday afternoon. I'm looking forward to the fish and chips beforehand, because I hear they're very nice in Grimsby, let me tell you. Here's the free kick for Leicester. Thomas has it, 40 yards out, left-footed, curling towards the edge of the 6-yard box, trying to find Aluko. Evades everybody apart from a Charlton head, and is out of play on this near side for a corner to Leicester. 9 goals from set pieces so far for Leicester this season. They've conceded 11 though, so they are in negative equity when it comes to set pieces, but maybe they can make something happen here. This is going to be their best chance in this game, being down to 10 men and a goal down already against Charlton. 3.5 to go to half time. Left-footed ball swung, edge of the 6-yard box. Cody gets a flick on it. He and Jones both run up for the same ball there, and they'll get another chance to put the ball in on that far side this time. Ayew's gone across to take it. Right-footed in-swinger from the left-hand side for Leicester City. Down to 10 men, trailing by a goal to 0. Here's Ayew's corner. Looking pages around that 6-yard box. Mavididi making runs as well at the near post. It was Aluko who tried to get up there, and it's cleared away from the edge of the box by the goal scorer Sonny Carey. Stolarczyk's way off his line up towards halfway, and Pereira will look to build again for Leicester. Away to our right hand side. Slipped by Mavididi, but then tries to take advantage a second time as he battles past Lieben. Mavididi still got it, far edge of the penalty area. He's got support. Aluko still up there, cuts the ball into the box, and it's away by Chambers from the edge of the 6-yard area.
It's a good situation at the moment, this, for Leicester City, keeping Charlton penned in. We'll have a fair amount of added, but just before half-time, this would be a wonderful time to score for the home side.
Long throw from Thomas on the far side, 30 yards out, left-footed, and it's arrowed into the head of Lloyd Jones, who clears, comes down to Winks, helped on to Mavididi, snapping challenge from Carey, but Mavididi avoids it and then works it to Thomas on the left-hand side, chance to put a cross in, which he does. Fatawu, right edge of the box, lucky ricochet, and it's cleared in the end into touch on this near side by Doherty. It'll be another throw for Leicester, this one taken quickly and short by Fatawu, finds Page, now Pereira. Page again on this right-hand side, on his left foot, cuts it across nicely to Thomas. Ripple of applause all around us for that from Page. Here's Mavididi onto his right foot. Mavididi with a shot blocked by Cody. Appeals for handball at the edge of the penalty area, but that one looked like it went right into his chest on this occasion. And Cody is just dispossessed by Aluko. Best spell of pressure this from Leicester in the opening 43 minutes. Page, short to Winks. Page again. Aluko down the right-hand side. Gives it out wide to Fatawu. Aluko had continued his run. Aluko towards the edge of the box, but it's picked up again by Page. And Leicester keeping the ball nicely.
Yeah, they are, and I think that's where they need to try and keep the composure. Hope that, as we mentioned, they can get into those areas where they can get the long throws and the corners and really take advantage. But there's also the element of, you look at Charlton there with the 5 at the back, you know, the shape is brilliant defensively. They're looking very solid, so there's an element that Charlton won't mind doing this. They don't mind sitting in that defensive shape and trying to dispossess that way.
Here's Mavididi. Thomas has gone inside in. Thomas is crossed across the 6-yard area. Fatawu's coming in at the back post, but Chambers is alert to the danger and puts it behind for what will be a corner on this near side.
It's a phenomenal ball. It's a great ball across, and that's where Leicester City are really lacking a number 9, a fox in the box, whether it be a Vardy or, let's go further back, a Gary Lineker, that just gets themselves in those positions for a tap-in.
Corner on this near side. Again, it's going to be left-footed. It'll be Page who will deliver it for Leicester. Down that right-hand side. In-swinger. Keeper's there. Tried to get a punch, but I think Jones got there first. And the shot from Winks at the edge of the penalty area just sails to the left-hand side of Kaminski's upright. There will be 10 added minutes at the end of this first half. We've had the 45. We're into added time.
Well, that'll be good. I mean, for Nathan Jones, he's thinking, we just need to get through this. But for Leicester and Andy King, their best spell of the game. So if they can put the pressure on for the next 10 minutes, as I mentioned, try and get that equaliser. Had the best spell of pressure of the game, but they need to continue that.
They will try for sure. And it's picked up again, this time by, in the middle of the park, Doherty. Now Carey on the charge, over halfway. He's got Clark outside him. In fact, he goes to Ramsey. Ramsey clips the ball in towards Lieben. Comes down at the edge of the box on this near side. He's drilled across that time by Chambers. And he's well saved by the feet of Stolacic. The goal was gaping for the youngster, and he drilled it all along the ground, but Stolacic stayed firm. They've still got it, Charlton, on that right-hand side. Ramsey's ball in, evades Dykes, and it can't be kept in by Chambers on this near side, and it's out for a goal kick to Leicester. That could have been 2-0.
Yeah, and that ball is on every single time because they're having to be so compact, Leicester City, and they're going over to the side where the ball is, and it's leaving Chambers in so much space. In that situation, I don't think there's a lot more he can do. He's just trying to strike it hard and low across the goal, and it's just a real great reaction. That's what they're work on day in, day out, the goalkeepers, and sticks out that left foot. It's a brilliant save from him.
Made 6 excellent saves in that game against West Bromwich Albion, where they really were under the pump for a long period in that game. That's the job that led to the sacking of Ryan Mason, despite them playing that well that evening, having suffered the 2-1 defeat. But Stolacic, the real star of the show that evening for Leicester City. That's clipped forward by Nelson. Kaminski's back-pedalling towards the edge of his 6-yard box, and he gathers that ball away to our right-hand side. We've had 2 of the 10 minutes added at the end of this first half. Leicester 0, Charlton 1. Leicester down to 10 men. A Coney sent off, the goal from Sonny Carey, what separates the two sides.
See it again, look, they're having to shuffle across Leicester, and that's what you have to do when you're down to 10 players. You then have to do the lesser of two evils, as it were, and it's leaving Thomas in acres Chambers rather in acres of space out on this left-hand side, and they can find in quickly, Charlton. It's going to cause some problems.
Doherty almost giving the ball away there, but it ricocheted nicely for Kaminski away to our right-hand side. 8 clean sheets in the Championship so far this season for Kaminski. A couple of those coming on the road in those 2 victories against Ipswich and Sheffield United that we mentioned. They have been leaking goals of late as well, Charlton. That's really nice from Chambers. He's got the better of Pereira. He's then got more pressure from Page and Fatawa as well between them all, and the throw-in does go Charlton's way on this near touchline. And it will be Chambers who will take it. Back to Bell on halfway, and Jones. Ramsey's tucked in alongside him as well. And it will be clipped forward down this left-hand side again to try and find Chambers. Pereira goes up, wins the first header. Doherty wins the second. Chambers keeps it alive. In towards Lyndon Dykes, who tries to take it down. Nelson comes and meets it, and then calmly plays it out towards Mavadini, who rides the challenge of Harry Clark. And then the ball runs back towards Kaminski, who's 10 yards outside his box. It was bouncing high. He's managed to kung fu kick it clear under pressure from Ayew. And then Charlton will get it away from Page and try and break down this left-hand side. Ball slipped in for Lieburn to chase onto. Aluko's there with him. Lieburn, edge of the penalty area, left-hand side. Short again. Chambers, left-footed ball across. Chance to finish and make it 2! Brilliantly done by Lyndon Dykes. And Charlton double their advantage. He was all alone at the edge of the 6-yard box, and Dykes finishes off with the gentlest of finishes across the Larchick and into the bottom corner. Dykes is off the mark in a Charlton shirt, and the storm clouds are gathering above the King Power. Leicester 0, Charlton 2.
Well, he felt like it was coming. It's a sensational ball, but it starts with Lieburn down the left-hand side, who, by the way, he can barely move his arm that he injured earlier, so it wouldn't surprise me if you don't see him in the second half, but runs that channel, plays the ball back, does ever so well. As I say, he's sprinting, he's barely moving one of his arms, but he makes the most of it. Gets back to Chambers in the end, and it's about the ball. Absolutely sensational, and you know full well that in that 6-yard box Lyndon Dykes is absolutely lethal, and he just pulls off the back shoulder of the defender, gets a great contact on it, side foot instep, and it's going back across where it's come from. There's nothing the goalkeeper can do about it, and brilliant finish from the centre forward.
Well, Luke Thomas basically just watches as Dykes finishes that and then looks over for an offside in the vain hope, as opposed to just trying to defend the ball. He and Nelson were the 2 back defenders. Chambers again. What an exquisite delivery from Luke Chambers, the 21-year-old. Just a beautiful ball.
You won't be getting dragged at half-time today, I can guarantee that one.
Clearly did the job, though. He's been on fire today, for sure. We've had 5 added minutes of this first half. There are 5 more to go. Leicester 0, Charlton 2. Throwing down this right-hand side is going to be launched in by Thomas again. Level with the edge of the penalty area. What can he do with this long throw? Right into the danger zone. Kaminski came for it, but 2 of his defenders decided to head it away as well. Fatawa's gone down at the edge of the penalty area on this near side in the box. I think before the throw can be taken, Fatawa might need some treatment. They've already lost Chowdhury to injury. They've had a Coley sent off, of course. They had to withdraw De Cordova-Reid. Fatawa was just saying to Andrew Kitchen, look, someone's caught my Achilles there. That should be a penalty, but the referee not interested.
If he's not giving it straight away, the referee he's not going to give it just because you've asked.
I learned that very early in football. Asking the ref doesn't tend to do much. Thomas's long throw again, headed away by Jones, out to Pereira. Oh, and the pass to Thomas on this near side was woeful from Pereira. Straight into touch. They high-five each other as a means of apology, but it's into touch and it's a throw for Charlton on this near side.
A brilliant half for Charlton, and Nathan Jones, he's still watching him, he still asks so much of his players, and rightly so, but even before the sending off they were aggressive, they were on the front foot. You could see exactly what they wanted to do, get in the faces of the bereft of confidence Leicester City players, and it certainly worked.
Here's Clark, clips a long ball forward. Lieburn's there. Nelson hesitation. Lieburn tries to win the header, but Nelson gets there this time. Charlton have it, and they're managing the game really well with Leicester having the 10 men, aren't they?
Yeah, because I think sometimes you can play against the team with 10 and there's too much of an impetus too early on to go forward to get the goals where they've been calm and composed, Charlton. They've done it in the right way. They've still stuck to their philosophy. You can tell that in terms of how they were coming into the game.
Fatawu down this right-hand side. Dykes is back doing the defending this time. It's a deflected cross from Fatawu towards Ayew that Jones deals with at the edge of the 6-yard area. He starts limping at that point too. It'll be a throw on this near side, which I think Pereira's going to take short this time to Winks. Back to Pereira. We're in the 8th minute of the 10 added at the end of this first half. Leicester 0, Charlton 2 on Talksport 2. There's a story brewing at Leicester City for sure. Here's Winks on this right-hand side. Near touchline, Fatawu's there. Page has made a run, but no one else moving much. We've seen a charge from Pereira out to this right, but instead he goes back to Aluko, who looks quite confident on the ball. The man who's come on to replace the red-carded Okoli. Actually replacing Decordova-Reid, of course, but in at centre-half alongside Nelson. Ayew trying to do some hold-up play here, but he's got 2 red shirts around him, and in the end they just out-muscle him, and the sheer presence of 2 was too much for Ayew to deal with. Now maybe at the edge of the box he can combine with Mavididi. Mavididi's still going on, but a stuck-out foot from Jones and a clearance from Bell keep Leicester City at bay.
He's been really good today, Jones, already. Cleared the crosses in the box, and at vital moments like that, getting his body in the way.
And he and Kaminsky have started every single game for Charlton this season. Or Winks just getting the better of Amari Bell then round the back. And the ball runs out of play. And again, Winks just starting on the assistant on this near side because Andrew Kitchen, the referee's given it as a goal kick.
Yeah, he gets away with on Amari Bell because I don't think he realises until he looks over his shoulder that Winks is there, or maybe he thinks the ball's going to run out more quickly than it does. And to be fair, then in a situation that he doesn't want to be in, uses his strength, he's quite clever, uses his body, and last touch comes off Winks.
Away to our right hand side. Here comes the goal kick from Kaminsky. We're in the last 30 seconds of the 10th added minute at the end of this first half. If you just joined us, we had a couple of head injuries, then we had technical issues with the assistant on the far side being unable to communicate. A bit of battery failure, I think. Well, there's been battery failure in this Leicester side in the opening 45 minutes. They trail here against Charlton, who've only won 2 away games all season by 2-0. Their last away victory, just so you know, in the Championship was on the 21st of October. Since the beginning of, or start of November, only West Brom have picked up fewer points on the road than Charlton. They've only managed 2 so far since the beginning of November. They could be adding 3 to that tally today. Long throw down this line from Amari Bell. We've had the 10 added minutes, and we're going to get some more because it's a free kick, or throw-in should I say, which Leicester have on this near side, just inside their own half, and the end of 45 minutes. And no surprise, those that are still left in their seats booing. There were empty seats before kick-off today, and as the game started there were plenty of blue seats on show. There's quite a few more now. Whether they've just gone for half-time or whether they've gone in total and not coming back, we'll find out. But it's a horror first 45 minutes for Andy King in charge of Leicester City. Okoli sent off. Charlton have a perfectly good goal ruled out, but then they take full advantage by scoring twice. Sonny Carey and Lyndon Dykes. A dominant opening 45 minutes from this Charlton side against the 10 men of Leicester City. There's trouble brewing at the King Power for sure. Half-time, Leicester 0, Charlton 2.
Adam Bridge, thank you very much indeed. When it rains, it pours, then all sorts of problems for languishing Leicester. But Courtney, we said that Charlton might smell blood today, given Leicester's situation, and they've taken advantage so far. Talk to me about that first goal. Lovely finish from Sonny Carey to put them ahead, because he had a lot to do as the cross came in.
Yeah, I think the pace of the ball that comes into him, it's difficult in a way. You want it quickly because it helps cut out the defenders, but I think you see his first touch was excellent. Is it fortunate? Does he mean it in terms of the little flick over Pereira? We'll never know, because if that was me, I'd have said, yeah, 100%, I meant it. But in that situation, he's calm, he's composed, he makes the run to get there. The touch falls in his favour, and then the finish was excellent as well, because I think sometimes in that position, forwards maybe second guess it because Stolarkic does start to come out. I probably think he could have come out more quickly, if I'm honest. But some forwards will look at that and go, I might get clattered by the keeper. Do I really want to put my foot in there? But of course he does Carey to get that goal, and it was really well worked and no more than Charlton deserved at that moment in time.
And then a striker's finish just before half-time from Lyndon Dykes. Can you explain just how difficult it is to pull off a finish like that, where he's stretching out his leg to guide the ball back across goal and into the far corner?
Yeah, it is difficult, but first and foremost, it's so good. And there's an element of, Adam mentioned it, terrible defending. But if you watch Dykes' movement, it's quality, because he starts in between, he sort of checks to the front, he then makes that little movement round the back, and at that point, it's about all the pace is on the cross from Chambers. The ball was absolutely phenomenal. And then you've just got to make sure that the contact's right by Lyndon Dykes, and that's exactly what he does. He doesn't try to get too much on it. He doesn't go for the laces and tries to volley. He just cushions it back across sort of the direction of where it's come from, past Stolarkic. And it's even where he is, the angles are cute. It's so difficult, but he does so well. And as I say, again, at that point, you just felt that Charlton, after a good spell from Leicester City, Charlton were just sensing that they could probably get another before half-time, which they did. And they really deserved their lead, Ollie.
They do, and it was made a bit easier for them, wasn't it? After 15 minutes, when Caleb Okoli, I mean, I don't know what he was protesting about.
No idea.
When he was shown a red card just 15 minutes into the game, Miles Leaburn spun him on the halfway line, Courtney. He's clearly brought him down. He had to go, but in that situation, and I know these decisions are made so quickly, but should he have been thinking, right, we're 15 minutes into the game, this guy's on the halfway line, maybe I just let him go through?
Yeah, I think there is an element, and it's hard because, as you say, it happens in a split second. But he was not necessarily, it was halfway line, but I think it was across to the right a little bit, wasn't it? So it's not like he's central. So there's an element, you're trying to think, yes, he spun me, but if I can get back in, I can take the shortest line, sort of to the middle of the pitch, try and force him back out wide. You've also got the goalkeeper. I agree in terms of it was definitely a red card, so he was last man, but also Nelson was in about 5 yards. So then there's an argument, because Nelson's more central as well, that he can get back across quickly and try and cause a problem. But that all happens in half a second. But it was a very, very silly decision, and I don't know what was more silly, the decision itself in terms of bringing him down, or then to try and remonstrate with the referee, because it was one of the most blatant red cards you'll ever see.
I'll tell you what as well, Courtney, Charlton will be very happy with their lead at half-time, but it could have been more. Harry Clark heading home from a corner moments after that red card. Stolarkic, the Leicester keeper, wins a free kick. For me, that goal should have stood, Courtney, because I couldn't see a foul on the keeper. Absolutely
not. They're a protected species, goalkeepers, and I will say it until the end of time. But I think, if anything, it was his own player that gets in his way. And I think it might have been Page in front of him. And I think we mentioned it in comms, actually, me and Adam. There's been questions over the goalkeeper for reasons much like that. And there's been elements where he's been fantastic. I think we mentioned against West Brom, made it, great saves in that game, but there's times when, especially from crosses and wide areas, he does flap at the ball, and that was another occasion of that, and it should have been 3. It's as simple as that.
You can tell you were a striker, Courtney. Thanks very much indeed. Serious work then for Andy King and Leicester to do in the second half. It's Charlton in front and looking pretty at the moment. Second half commentary comes next here on Talksport 2, and we'll look ahead to our 3 o'clock game as QPR host league leaders Coventry.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League. January 31st is the deadline for your self-assessment tax return. So TalkSport and Intuit QuickBooks have teamed up to balance your business finance commitments with some beautiful football content. You tackle your self-assessment, we'll tackle the transfer market. You finish the admin, we'll cover all the latest speculation, signings and spending sprees. Get self-assessment support throughout the day today on TalkSport with Intuit QuickBooks. Outdo self-assessment with Intuit QuickBooks. Search QuickBooks to find out more.
That's it. We need a bigger car.
Smart speaker, what's an award-winning SUV?
The Tucson is an award-winning midsize SUV and is available for a 24-hour test drive.
They look great. And it's a self-charging hybrid too.
Smart speaker, search offers on a Hyundai Tucson.
The Tucson is available with 2 years 0% APR. And it's Hyundai, by the way.
Discover the Hyundai Tucson self-charging hybrid. Ends 31st of March, 25% deposit, finance subject to status. Hyundai UK is a credit broker, not a lender. Terms apply.
It's the last chance to get yourself a ticket for tonight's Lotto draw.
It could be you.
Lotto from the National Lottery. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Hello, Mike's Mechanics. How can we help?
Can you tell me what's wrong with my car? It's making a grrr
noise.
Right, and is that when you brake or accelerate?
So when I brake, it's more of a... and when I accelerate, it's more of a... If you get me?
Right.
Customers can be hard work. Switching your bank account won't be. We'll automatically move your regular payments over when you switch with the Current Account Switch service.
There's a standard Valentine's card, and then there's a Moonpig with stickers made just for them. Videos they'll replay again and again. And photos that bring your favourite memories to life. Plus get 20% off with code LOVE20. Because this Valentine's Day, everyone deserves a...
Moonpig.com.
We, the podcast, in order to establish opinion, the inside take,
provide for the common sense and secure the blessings of our listeners,
do ordain and establish
the state of it, USA.
Join our Washington editor Katie Balls and Times columnist Gerard Baker as they unravel American politics in the state of it, USA. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be inside a bowl of Heinz soup? Floating on a blanket of thick tomatoey goodness, the aromas tickling your nostrils, a crispy little human crouton drifting off, getting lost in the soup. Bathe in comfort. It has to be Heinz.
Summer is calling. Book early for your trip to Turkey and get the most out of your holiday. Visit GoTurkey.com now and discover unforgettable experiences. Plan your summer getaway to Turkey today.
At Kia, we have an award-winning range of electric cars for you to discover. From the compact SUV, the Kia EV3, and our latest hatchback, the Kia EV4, to our stylish new Kia EV5, the all-electric family SUV. Discover what driving electric really means. And if you order any Kia electric car by March 31st, you'll enjoy your first 2 services free. Search Discover Your Kia EV to book your test drive today.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
T's and C's apply.
Hard-hitting football coverage.
He hits it first time, what a volley, what a goal!
Pushing the apex of live football.
And it's in!
EFL Live on Talksport 2.
Edge of the D now, slots into us, Saito across goal and in! Romain Barrel has a goal back for Rangers!
You have 46 games in Championship and you need to show consistency if you want to have a good position at the end.
And it gives Thomas Asante a chance, and then Sakamoto! 3-0, Coventry City!
There's definitely a level of balance. There's a lot of people can get excited in different ways. Really, really excited and really, really down and go, what do we do differently? We don't, we keep working.
Good afternoon, this is EFL Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2. I'm Ollie Klink. Thanks for sharing your Saturday with us. We're bringing you live Championship action throughout the afternoon. It's currently 10-man Leicester 0, Charlton 2 in the Championship. Sonny Carey and Lyndon Dykes with the goals. The issues continue for Leicester City. Second half commentary to come. Let me just take you through some of the other scores at the moment in the Championship. They're just back underway in the second half at Hillsborough. It's Sheffield Wednesday 0, Wrexham 0, and at the Bet365 it's Stoke 0, Southampton 1. Finner Zaz with the goal for Southampton. In League One, they're back underway at Plough Lane as well. It's AFC Wimbledon 0, Bolton 1, and Bradford City 0, Doncaster 0. We're going to be at Loftus Road for QPR against league leaders Coventry a bit later on. 3 o'clock kickoff for that game. I'm delighted to say that your match commentator Ian Danter is in position at Loftus Road. How you doing, Dance?
Oliver, very well. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Interesting game for many reasons, this one. Coventry, who stormed into such a magnificent 10-point lead at the start of the season, they looked untouchable, but it's tailed off a bit since, and Borough are now just 3 points behind them. How jittery do you think the Coventry fans should be feeling?
A little. I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the fact that there were 2 teams chasing them down. If it was just one of Ipswich or Middlesbrough that were getting that close to them, it might not be so bad, but the fact that both teams have picked up form in Ipswich and Borough, just that would make Coventry fans nervous, because you've got to think how nervous Coventry fans have been over the past couple of seasons, Ollie. They get to a playoff final in 23, lose it on pens to Luton. Then, they They don't make the playoffs the next. They lose to Sunderland in the semi-finals, despite dominating the two legs. You know, even though so much is positive around Coventry, I would fully understand why Coventry fans would think, well, I can see how this is going to play out. We're going to get overhauled and whatnot. So, as you just heard there in that clip of Frank Lampard in the introduction you played, they've just got to keep working. They've just got to keep believing in the principles that have got them to where they were when they were 10 points clear.
Yeah, it's interesting because Lampard also this week was pointing out that they were never going to keep that run going from the start of the season. It was unsustainable. I think he said that they'd have ended up finishing on something like 112 points. He talks about the fact that in football, sometimes you have these scenarios. It's just going to be about finding that consistency again, especially on the road.
Most definitely on the road. They are most certainly struggling on their travels. But, you know, if you look at the basic statistics, every team who's been top of the championship after 15 games over the last decade has won promotion either as champion, second placed, or taking it through the playoffs. The only team who didn't manage that in the last 10 years, having been top, oddly enough, were today's hosts, QPR, who nearly got relegated in 22-23 when they were top after 15 games. So, the history should theoretically be on Coventry City's side, but without question, they've got to do better away from home. But they did, let's not forget, tonk QPR 7-1 back in August at the CBS Arena. So good memories of this particular opposition.
Yeah, good memories for Coventry. Some nightmares, you'd imagine, for some of those QPR players. And they had an absolute sucker punch last weekend, conceding 2 in stoppage time to lose to Wrexham. Look, they've not been in great form. But is there any part of you that think they could cause Cov a few problems today?
Oh, they could cause problems today. Yeah, I mean, they've got injury lists. You know, they're not just down to the bare bones, they're down to the marrow. That's what they're down to, QPR. When you think they've got Romain Borrell, their top scorer, out with the hamstring. Justin Ibikwu, who they just got from Coventry, apparently he's picked up a knock in training. Kwame Poku's out with the hamstring. Ilias Chair, arguably their most creative midfielder, out with a muscle strain. Varane with a knee. Larkesh with an ACL. Clark Salter with an ankle injury. The list goes on and on and on and on. And so Julian Stefan's trying to, you know, put out a scratch 11 that can compete. Look, they've got it in them, Ollie, to cause problems. They've got players that can affect the game, I would say, particularly when you look late on. You look at Harvey Vale, who they got from Chelsea, Richard Kone, who was banging in goals last season for Wickham, which is why QPR bought him. You've got Dembele at the back. Dunn and Cook can pop up with goals from the back at set pieces. I mean, they were going to be 6th in the table as we went into the stoppage time here against Wrexham last time out, and now they're 12th. That's how nuts it is. In that area of the championship. They were going to be 6th, Ollie. And crazy. Then 2 goals later, including a cracker from Rathbone, suddenly they're 12th. They're not 7th or 8th, they're 12th. So you've got to have that belief that just back-to-back wins can do you the power of good at this level.
It's going to be fascinating. Dance, thanks very much indeed. Ian Danter there. He'll be alongside Perry Groves, the former Arsenal winger, for live commentary of QPR against Coventry. That follows the game that we are focusing on at the moment, where Leicester have a lot of work to do. They find themselves down to 10 men and 2-0 down at home to Charlton. Let's head back to your commentary team for the second half. Adam Bridge, who's alongside the former Liverpool women's striker, Courtney Switmenkirk.
Thanks, Ollie. Team's just coming back out here. We're going to see one change for Charlton, which was called by Courtney. Miles Liebern, who was excellent in that first half, but did pick up that little shoulder injury from a challenge from Ricardo Pereira midway through that first half. It looks like Matty Godden is going to come on to replace him at half-time. And if I was one of Leicester's centre-halves, however good Matty Godden is, I'd be quite pleased to see the back of Miles Liebern.
Yeah, very much so. They'll be breathing a huge sigh of relief, and I think all of that half, I think he come out and missed one sort of, or come out the worst on one challenge. Every other 50-50 or ball up to him, he held it up, he headed it on, he always came out the winner except for that one occasion. So yeah, they'll be glad to see the back of him.
Here we go then, start of the second half, and it's Charlton who get us underway. They are kicking from left to right in this second 45 minutes. I'll run you through the two teams, because obviously we have seen a fair few changes following that red card to Okoli and the injury to Chowdhury and also to Liebern. So it's Stolarczyk who's in goal for the home side. Thomas, Nelson, Aluko and Pereira is now the back four. The two central midfielders are Winks and Page, Mavididi and Fatawu out wide, and Ayew up top. De Cordova-Reid was the player that was sacrificed to allow Aluko to come on and bolster the Leicester defence following Okoli's red card. As for Charlton, Kaminski is in goal. It's a back three of Ramsey, Lloyd and Bell. Cody sitting just in front of them, and ahead of that Doherty, Clark and Chambers, with Carey, Dykes and Godden now up front. The goal scorers, of course, Carey and Dykes in this game so far. Here's Fatawu down that right-hand side. Early ball into Ayew, is right behind it. Comes to Winks at the edge of the box, who hits one. Brilliant block by Jones on the edge of the 6-yard area. And it's a corner for Leicester on the far side. And they've come out the traps here at the start of the second half.
Yeah, it's a brilliant start from Leicester City, in all fairness. The way they've come out aggressive and trying to get themselves back in to the game early, but yet again, who is it in the way? Lloyd Jones. He's been phenomenal today in that defensive line, throwing his body at absolutely everything.
Page will deliver from that far side, the right-hand side for Leicester, so it's going to be the left-footed in-swinger. Nelson's waiting at the near post, doesn't get to him. It's headed away by Chambers. Back out again to Page on that far side. Gets across in, this time deeper towards Ayew. It's up in the air, that time from Bell, back across into the danger zone by Mavididi, away by Cody, but no real purchase onto it. And actually, it's a really poor game of head tennis that takes place towards the edge of the penalty area. Carey goes down, doesn't win it. Mavididi's away here, down the left-hand side, inside the penalty area. Mavididi, couple of step-overs on his left foot towards the back post and towards Fatawu. But Chambers is there to get a flick on it and half clear it. Fatawu's got the other side of him. Fatawu inside the penalty area, tries the shot. And it's blocked once more on that far side, this time by Harry Clark. Here's Godden, wins the ball. Now a chance to break and counter maybe against the 10 men of Leicester. Left-footed ball poked forward by Carey. But there's no chasing after that from Lyndon Dykes. And it's back with Stolarczyk away to our right-hand side. Much better from Leicester City.
Yeah, much better from them. I think Carey there in that situation just needs to be a bit more clever, sense the situation. Obviously Leicester have come out, started really brightly. When you've got the opportunity to keep the ball, I know we're trying to play Matty Godden in on the counter-attack, but I think he would have been better served there just to keep the ball and try and hold this momentum that Leicester have started with in the second half.
Throw in on the far side for Leicester, the right-hand side. I think Pereira's going to take it. There's no sign of Luke Thomas trying to launch one of his attacks on this occasion with his long throw. Instead it's back to Aluko, who's midway inside the Leicester half. Short here to Nelson, back to Stolarczyk. No real press now coming from Dykes. Now that Lieben's departed, he seemed to be doing most of that work, to be fair. Mavididi tries to win the header and get on the long ball from Stolarczyk, but Ramsey's there, and it's cleared away in the end by Jones. It's a long ball forward up towards Godden, who can't quite chase after it. Carey's there, but Thomas has put a big up and under in towards the edge of the Charlton penalty area. Ayew's there and just does well to get his body between the ball and Lloyd Jones. They still manage to get it away on that far side, courtesy of Amari Bell, who's fouled by Ayew. So it will be a free kick on that far side to Charlton.
And this is where now Charlton just need to settle down, take the time. Ayew there is giving you an opportunity to slow the game down, and to be fair, you can see that's what Kaminski's doing. He's jogging over to the ball now, but he was talking to one of his defenders, and just a real opportunity now for Charlton to keep hold of the ball. Yes, it'll go long and they'll compete for it, but just halts the momentum.
On that far side, it's going to be cleared away by Kaminski. Left with the edge of his own penalty area. 4.5 minutes into the second half on Talksport 2. It's Leicester 0, Charlton 2, and the back pass is charged down by Harry Clark, but it's away by Stolarczyk anyway, and then chested down and hit on the volley from the edge of the penalty area by Godden. Flies over the top of the crossbar, but via a deflection.
That would have been something, wouldn't it? The way he brings it down on his chest, and initially he's back to goal, and you think surely you're not having a go from there, but fair play to him. Godden, he's got that awareness, he knows where he is. Takes a little bit of a flick off Nelson on the way.
Last goal was in that playoff semi-final. First appearance of the season on the 17th of January. Here's the corner on the far side. Edge of the 6-yard box. Stolarczyk's completely missed it. He came for it, got nowhere near it, but it's cleared out from the edge of that 6-yard area, all the way back with Kaminski.
He's looking over to the assistant. I've got no idea why. He flies through the air, Superman style, nowhere near the ball. If I'm Charlton, I am peppering him and putting the ball on top of him.
Cody, lovely diagonal into the penalty area. Gordon gets the shot away on his left foot edge of the 6-yard box, straight into the arms of Stolacic.
There's not much more Gordon can do with that acute angle. He's in front of the near post and does really well to actually get any purchase on it.
Well, we've got comical goalkeepers here today. Kaminski's come literally 30 yards outside his box and cleared it into touch on this near side. It's a really good snap finish, that, from Gordon, isn't it? It's a good header forward on that occasion from Lloyd Jones, and Gordon with a snap shot straight at Stolacic. Same happened with Stolacic last week against Oxford. Oxford had a goal disallowed for another moment where there was no real foul on Stolacic, but he puts his hand up for them because sometimes he seems to get them. Yeah, you would think.
I think there is that sort of sensitivity as well around goalkeepers, but on this, the few occasions we've seen today, absolutely nothing wrong with what's happened to him.
Fataru's fouled on halfway by Chambers, and then the ball was rolling as Winks took the free kick that Chambers managed to intercept. And it will be a free kick again for Leicester just inside their own half. 6.5 minutes gone in the second half on Talksport 2. Leicester 0, Charlton 2. A reminder, 3 o'clock this afternoon, Queen's Park Rangers against Coventry is our live game. And let's get the team news from Ian Danter.
2 changes for QPR after that heartbreaking last gasp defeat to Wrexham. Ronnie Edwards makes his debut for the suspended Mbenge, and Isaac Hayden comes in for Morgan in midfield. 4 changes for Coventry after their defeat at Norwich. Out go Torp, Esser, Thomas Asante and Wright. In come Eccles, Sakamoto, the fit again Rodoni and Sims. Live once you're done there at the King Power, Adam. It is QPR against Coventry City live on Talksport 2.
With any luck, Ian will be done by 3 o'clock, but who knows? The way this game's gone so far. We're only 7 minutes into the second half as things stand. Leicester 0, Charlton 2. Yellow card here for Harry Clark. Just a little grab of Mavadidi on this near side when he looked to be away. It means Leicester have a free kick about 10 yards outside the penalty area, down this left-hand side, 7 or 8 yards in from this near touchline. Luke Thomas is over it. Aluko and Nelson will probably be the targets inside the penalty area. It's Nelson with a header, and it's over the top of the crossbar by quite some distance.
He gets it. Good run on the ball. Contact almost too much, really, and lack of direction. As you mentioned, comes from that free kick. Nice little bit of skill from Mavadidi. Nutmegs Clark in his away and is unceremoniously brought back, and as you mentioned, that's why he ends up in the referee's book.
More live Premier League football for you tonight over on Talk Sport. It's Liverpool against Newcastle. That's our live game. Exclusive coverage from 8 o'clock tonight on Talk Sport. Both teams, of course, had good weeks in Europe in that pulsating finale to the Champions League phase. And both will be looking to get to winning ways this evening in the Premier League, of course. 3 precious points up for grabs. That's tonight, 8 o'clock kickoff from Anfield. This afternoon, of course, around the grounds over on Talk Sport with Adrian Durham, Mickey Gray and Charlie Adam as well. Here's Jordan Ayew just over halfway for Leicester. Gets away and finds Fatawu. Mavadidi's in some space, but the pass is cut out by Cody. Comes to Luke Thomas, 25 yards out from goal. Now level with a penalty spot in the area. It's Mavadidi on this left-hand side. Mavadidi tries to drill it across. It's blocked again by Clark. Mavadidi now finds Pereira, right edge of the box. Pereira on his left foot drills it low, not his favoured foot, as you can tell. The appeals for handball waved away by the referee. Nelson and Dykes have a battle. Luco joins in the fun on halfway. Here comes Pereira down that right-hand side. Fatawu's there, he's onside. Has the ball, right edge of the penalty area. Level with the penalty spot. Brilliant from Fatawu. Goes down in the box. Penalty, says referee Andrew Kitchen. Had to be. The challenge from Doherty, pulled at the shirt, and Fatawu has won Leicester a spot kick and maybe a way back into this game.
Where was this Leicester City in the first half? Yes, there's been the sending off, and I appreciate that. But it goes back to what we were talking about, sort of them with effort going in and out. There's nothing changed in terms of tactical tweaks here. This is just about tempo, and that's about the players wanting it. Fatawu does ever so well, drops the shoulder, gets round Amari Bellew, just pulls his, I think it's his left arm back, and rightly so. Referee Andrew Kitchen points to the penalty spot, and this could be a massive moment for Ayew and Leicester City.
Yeah, I've done Greg Doherty a disservice there. He looked disconsolate, but it was actually Amari Burr with a challenge. Here's Jordan Ayew then, 4th penalty of the season for Leicester so far. The last one they had was missed by Bobby Decordova-Reid. What can Ayew do from 12 yards for the 10 men of Leicester? And he hits the post! He's hit the upright, sent the keeper the wrong way, and it bounces out for a throw on this near side to Charlton. Well, when it's raining, it's pouring in Leicester.
A little bit of a stutter start, wasn't there? And you wanting him to maybe slot it and wait for the goalkeeper to move, which he does, and he goes for the opposite side. Just goes too far to the left, cannons off the upright instead of nestling in the side netting like he envisaged.
He had 3/4 of the goal to put that in because of Kaminski committing low away to his left-hand side. But Ayew fails to deliver. It's a second penalty miss of the season for Leicester City. Here's Thomas from distance, left-footed shot, deflected. Kaminski's done well to go down and just about keep that in. The home supporters, well, what's left of him in the front 3 rows away to our left-hand side behind the goal, thought that Kaminski had let that run out of play, but Andrew Kitchen, our referee, was happy. And the ball's forward, intercepted by Nelson. They're playing much more on the front foot here, Leicester. Not waiting for things to happen. They look to be actually attacking the ball, stepping into challenges. Here's Pereira on the far side. Remember, they have only got 10 men as well. We're 11 minutes into the second half. Leicester 0, Charlton 2. Fatawu on that far side. He's probably regretting giving the ball to Jordan Ayew for the penalty right now. Here's Nelson. Thomas down this left-hand side towards the edge of the penalty area. Finds Mavididi. Angle of the box. Chasing and running at 2 here. Just waits a moment. Little step over. Pereira, 25 yards out. Clear sight at goal. Oh, Kaminski spilled it. Page tries to poke it home, but it's blocked out on the near post for a corner.
Well, Nathan Jones is apoplectic. He's trying to make subs now, and no wonder, because you see, I think there's 10, if not 11 players in the box there for Charlton, because they're dropping deeper and deeper and deeper, and they're panicking because of all the pressure that Leicester City are putting on.
Well, they're not controlling the game anymore against 10 men, are they? Here's Page. In swinger, Kaminski gathers in his 6-yard box, and no wonder he falls on the ball just to slow some of this Leicester momentum down, and Nathan Jones is literally doing star jumps down below. He's preparing changes. Connor Coventry, I think, is going to come on into that midfield. He's ready to go, and they're looking at a second change as well.
I think it's Luke Berry that was running down the touchline.
Oh, that's a good flick on the offside. Flag's up against Matty Godden, who does find the back of the net, but the flag already up on this near side. Well, that really would have put the game to bed on that occasion, but he did look a little offside, it's fair to say.
I've got to give credit to Leicester City, though, the players. Look, I've questioned them at times, and I think rightly so, in terms of what's gone this season. But the way that they've started this second half, the willingness, the determination, the tempo as well, they've been excellent. But it's just a shame for Ayew in that moment. He couldn't find the composure that he needed.
Second half goals, or goals elsewhere in the Championship, should I say. Wrexham lead at Sheffield Wednesday. Sam Smith on target. Wrexham, of course, up and about those playoff places, and Southampton have doubled their advantage against Stoke. Flynn Downs, the goal scorer for Southampton. They now lead 2-0 up at the Bet365. On this left-hand side, Mavididi, he's alive in this second half. Inside the box, down this left-hand side towards the byline. Clark's there, just fights off the urge to dive in with a challenge. Fatawu to Pereira in the box. Going down is Luke Thomas, and he's given the free kick here, right at the edge of the penalty area. And Leicester are swarming all over this Charlton side right now.
And it's wave after wave of attack from Leicester. It's Pereira draws the foul, I think, in the end. It's just that late run. And the referee, he gets completely upended, doesn't he, by Doherty, and the referee was just waiting to play the advantage, see if anything came of it. But it's a really good position now, about 22, 23 yards out.
And it's going to be, you feel, Mavididi, because it will suit his right foot. Or maybe the trick play here is the left foot of Fatawu, who's obviously having a terrific season, as we mentioned. 6 goals, 7 assists, most dribbles of anyone in the Championship. Loves the ball at his feet, but he stepped away. So it's just Winks and Mavididi over this one. Andrew Kitchen, the referee, giving his instructions. There's a wall of 4, 6. Well, there's 10 players in a Charlton wall, literally running from the width of the goalpost. Winks leaves it. Mavadini on his right foot low, and no surprise, it's hit one of those 10 Charlton defenders. Pereira on the far side, out wide to Fatawu. He's on the charge again. He's already won a penalty from that side. What can he do this time against Chambers? In the box. Chambers does enough, and then Doherty comes across to block it. Oh, it ricochets nicely for Fatawu inside the penalty area again. And Amari Bell has to clip it out into touch on that far side for another throw-in for Leicester City.
Just watching Nathan Jones, I mean, this is an experience in itself, and we know he kicks every single ball, but now he's shouting at his staff. He obviously wants to get, I think it's a triple sub now. It might even be it's a triple sub, and just wants to get those players on to try and change this game now and try and pull it back in Charlton's favour.
Well, those Leicester fans that didn't come back at half-time, they're missing out on a bit of fight from their side at the start of this second half. Leicester 0, Charlton 2. We're just beyond the hour mark. 61 minutes played on Talksport 2.
Might even be a quad sub, you know. Nathan Jones going for it.
Yeah, there is a fourth. Yeah, there's going to be 4 changes in total. Fevrier is coming on. So no doubt Nathan Jones wants to take advantage of the fact that Leicester have got 10 men, although you wouldn't notice that in the second half. They look like they've got the man advantage, Leicester. Right-footed ball hooked forward here by Ramsey. Godden tries to win it against Nelson. Nelson looking round, wanting a free kick. Andrew Kitchen not interested. Here's Ramsey, he's got 2 round him, Ayew and Mavadini, who do well to win that ball back, and then the throw goes Charlton's way on halfway. Leading here by 2-0 as things stand. Reminder, QPR Coventry, the leaders in action from 3 this afternoon here on Talksport 2. Tomorrow, Game Day Live from 1:30, following around the Premier League and WSL action tomorrow lunchtime. And also Monday night, we've got more live Premier League football for you here on Talksport 2. Sunderland taking on Burnley, that's exclusively live. An 8 o'clock kick-off on Monday night. Of course, the transfer window shuts at 7 on Monday evening. All the reaction to that will be via Talksport. And don't forget, you can watch some of our transfer coverage as well on the interactive TV coverage, and also via the app, which you should be downloading by now, most definitely. And there's obviously the transfer notebook as well. That's online on the website. Throw down this right-hand side for Charlton. We've not actually seen a Charlton long throw today. We're going to get our first taste of it on this right-hand side by the corner flag. Sonny Carey gets it in, direct onto Jones, and the shot is a fairly tame one in the end that comes in from Lyndon Dykes. He'd done the hard work, chested it down, but just couldn't get any power in the effort.
Yeah, it's a really good flick on by Jones, and I think he'll be disappointed with that, Lyndon Dykes. As you say, he does the difficult bit.
Ayew's penalised for a foul there on Connor Cody. So, Connor Coventry, Fevrier, Tyrese Campbell are the 3 who are definitely coming on. I think one may have been dispatched back to put his tracksuit on, but Nathan Jones is... I mean, they've been going through these routines and positioning at corners, etc. for about 10 minutes now.
And I think that is the problem. So I think initially it was Luke Berry who's now sat back down, but when you are making so many changes in one go, you have to make sure that it might not necessarily be a like for like in terms of replacing from set pieces, so that's when it can get quite convoluted, and you've got to make sure that everyone knows where they're meant to be.
Only made 6 appearances for Wrexham this season, did Connor Cody, so I would have thought, I mean, he's a model pro, keeps his fitness up, but whether he's going to be all right for 90 minutes or not, I think might be questionable.
No, I think that's it. He's coming off, isn't he?
Well, we're going to see Sonny Carey is the first to depart, and it will be the introduction and a debut for Jayden Fevrier, number 77. Connor Coventry is coming on to replace Connor Cody. Not too often you get a substitution of a Connor for a Connor. And the other change, we'll see the departure of Luke Chambers, and he's going to be replaced by Tyrese Campbell. I think probably what it more boils down to is that Tyrese Campbell will go where Sonny Carey was, and Fevrier probably playing in the wing-back role, but we'll see how that pans out.
And as you say, I think going back to Cody, not played a lot, has he? So you're right, you can keep yourself going as much as possible and be that model pro, but there's nothing that you can substitute for actual match fitness, so they've just got to be careful with him and make sure they bed him in the right way.
And I think probably looking after Chambers as well, who obviously was very impressive. It looks like Février gone out wide on this right-hand side. There's a flag up on this near touchline, so we'll try and work out exactly how this is panning out. Maybe Clark's gone in as one of those. Have they gone to a back four?
I think they've gone to a back four, Adam.
Yeah, it does look like they've gone to a back four with Harry Clark at right back. Amari Bell has gone obviously into the middle. We'll see how it pans out. There's Leicester on the attack with Thomas down this left-hand side. Slipped it into Mavididi, and a good foot across that time from Kane Ramsey did enough. So it looks like Ramsey and Jones in the middle, Clark at right back and Amari Bell at left back. Looks like how they've set up here, Charlton, with those changes. Here's Ayew with a short corner for Leicester on this near side. Winks gives it away immediately on this near side, and now a chance for the on loan Février to charge down this right hand side. He's been at Stockport County, of course, so he steps up a division from League One to come into Charlton and runs the ball into touch, and it will be a throw on this near side for Leicester.
And he does well initially, but I think he needs that awareness of he's up against Mavididi, so he's not going to beat him for pace. And Tyrese Campbell was in a good position on the opposite side of the pitch, so that's one of them balls that he needs to try and whip behind the back line.
Yeah, it looks like Godden's dropped into a kind of number 10 role, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it just gives you that little bit more security at times, although I'm a bit worried for Harry Clark, I must admit, playing right back up against Mavididi, already on a yellow card. He's going to have to be really careful.
Yeah, very much looks like a bit more of a 4-2-3-1 here, really, for Charlton. So adaptability the key, you feel, for Nathan Jones' side. Here's Tyrese Campbell, the sub, on the charge down that left-hand side, inside the penalty area. Tyrese Campbell still going, tries to get the crossover, and actually it's a good bit of defending from Aluko, who came on in the first half following a Cody's red card, and actually it's ricocheted off Campbell out for a goal kick.
Yeah, one of them really frustrating ones as a forward player when you're looking to get the ball in, ricochets back off the defender and out for the goal kick. But you see the pace that Tyrese Campbell has got, so to try and get that ball into him to create problems is something that Charlton will be looking to do.
So Dykes very much up top on his own, doing all the hard yards, you'd feel, for Charlton in this second half. Midway point of the second half as well here on Talksport 2. Leicester 0, Charlton 2. Leicester down to 10 men and have been, of course, since the 15th minute. That red card from Calabacoli. But the second half much better from Andy King's side. Trailing by 2, should have been 3. Noticed on social media at half-time that even Mike Dean, and we know what Mike Dean's like, he says that was a perfectly good goal for Charlton in the first half. Should have been 3-0 as opposed to 2. Here's Mavididi on a charge, ball at feet, running towards the edge of the penalty area, still going in a central position. Here's Aluko, who's with him on this near side, gives it to Luke Thomas, back into Mavididi, just tries to use his shoulder to barge Doherty out the way. Thomas again, Ayew at the edge of the penalty area, goes down very easily. You can see what was in Ayew's mind. Then here's Doherty again, and that's a dreadful ball forward. He thinks he was fouled in the process, but it was nowhere near Tyrese Campbell.
And that's where they have to be better, Charlton, when you know that Leicester got their tails up, they're doing well. You have to keep the ball and be more composed, and that's why Nathan Jones made the changes to try and bring that composure back to his side.
Certainly get the feeling Lyndon Dykes has not quite got the running he had in him. Didn't play 90 minutes too often for Birmingham City, of course, scored crucial goals, but invariably they were coming off the bench. He's putting a shift in this game.
And I think as well, bringing Leeburn off it through injury, I don't think they would ever have done that if he wasn't injured, because he was such a thorn in the side, and all those 50-50 balls that kept going up, he was winning every single one of them, Leeburn. So I think that's a big change for this Charlton side as well, him having to come off.
Clark back to Kaminski, who clears right-footed up and over halfway. As we mentioned, it's been a long time since Charlton won here. Chris Powell was the man in charge back in those days when they did come and secure victory against Leicester. And no away win since the 21st of October in the Championship. It's been a long, bleak winter on the road for Nathan Jones' side, but maybe going to put that right today as Tyrese Campbell is played in down that left-hand side. But Aluko gets across, cuts it out well. He's been pretty good.
Yeah, he's done well since he's come on, and out of all the players, really, looked the most composed on the ball, being thrown into a really tough situation, but reads that excellently there. And I thought it was a good ball actually into Campbell, but comes across well, Aluko. He's just anticipating one. First and foremost, it's positioning to get that right, and then that turn of pace to cut the ball out as well.
Throw on this near side for Leicester, midway inside their own half. 20 minutes remaining on Talksport 2. You're home with the EFL, of course. EFL Cup, known as the Carabao Cup, semi-final second legs, Tuesday and Wednesday night. We'll have both those games for you live on Talksport, of course. Arsenal ahead after the opening leg against Chelsea, and Man City, you feel, probably in control of the game when they head home with a 2-0 advantage against Newcastle United. Both those games Tuesday, Wednesday night on Talksport, of course. On that far side, ball just played in short. On this right-hand side, we're going to pick it up with Clark. If Ramsey goes that way, he doesn't. He instead goes long and diagonal to Tyrese Campbell on the far side, who's done really well to pluck that out of the air. Wasn't the greatest of takes, but he did enough to keep it alive. It did entice Pereira in with a challenge, and it wins a throw on that far side for Charlton. Taken short. Here's former West Ham man Connor Coventry. Gets it short and back from Doherty. And again, Coventry on that far side will pop it down the line to Tyrese Campbell. The youngster cutting in on the right foot, headband in full flow as those locks behind him just whistling the breeze here at the King Power. It's Clark who gets it back once more towards halfway. Picked up inside the centre circle. Doherty, his dreadful pass that time, straight to the feet of Thomas. And now a chance for Winks maybe to set Fatawu away on the right hand side. Here come Leicester on the charge. Fatawu on his left foot clips it in towards Jordan Ayew, who tries to get up for the header. He's all over the back of Kane Ramsey at the time. Makes no contact in the end. Ramsey, I think, may be hurt, but it's going to be a goal kick for Charlton.
That comes from Doherty losing the ball again twice in a couple of minutes. Has done that. He has to be better, because there was a moment in time actually where Charlton looked a lot better, playing it out from the back and stringing a few passes together, and it was the right idea in terms of Fevrier. He was in a wonderful position, but Doherty, if he can't play that ball, it was a longer pass. If he's not got the ability to play it, or doesn't feel like he can play it at that moment, he has to stop giving the ball away.
Grimsby have come from 2 down against MK Dons. Grimsby 2, MK Dons 2 in League 2. The early kickoffs in League 1, still just the one goal in it. That was a goal for Bolton against Wimbledon. Goal is still between Bradford and Doncaster. Not the best of runs right now for Bradford. Just losing a grip near the top of League 1. Here, 17 minutes to go. And there's a handball from Mavididi, and it will be a free kick for Charlton midway inside their own half. Nathan Jones still. You can hear him from up here, shouting, raging, kicking his feet, you name it, down below. Much calmer from Andy King in the dugout alongside him, despite his side being 2 down.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it, sort of the different situations and managers put themselves in. But this is Nathan Jones, and he's always been like that, and I don't think even in his 90s he'll probably never change. He might not be on the touchline, but I still think he'll sort of have that energy and passion and purpose for what he does.
Leicester, despite doing well, I think are going to make a change, maybe a couple of changes as well, bearing in mind they've already used 2 of their 3 allotted substitutions they could make in normal time. Or Lloyd Jones has got that through to Godden, who hits one. Oh, it was bouncing beautifully, and the shot was very Jamie Vardy-esque. If you remember that classic goal, I think he scored against Liverpool from a ball over the top, hit it on the volley. This one though just fizzing over the top of the crossbar.
And I think it's because he sees Salarkic out of the corner of his eye. He starts to come and then he stops, and there's that moment for Godden where he sees the goalkeeper off his line, strikes it well to be fair, but too far off target.
Big afternoon in the Premier League and the EFL, of course. You can follow it all live around the grounds with Adrian Durham over on Talksport right now. If you've got the Talksport app, you can slide between the 2 channels quite comfortably. Leeds against Arsenal, the big one this afternoon, 3 o'clock kickoff. Arsenal needing to get back to winning ways, of course, for confidence purposes, you feel, after that defeat to Manchester United. Not won any of their last 3 in the Premier League, and they still find themselves clear at the top of the table. All the goals as they go in. Mickey Great, Charlie Adam with Adrian this afternoon, and that full classified check at 5:15 as well, of course, followed by the phone in from 5:30 ahead of our coverage tonight of Liverpool against Newcastle. All the build up from 7:30 for that 8 o'clock kickoff of our live exclusive Premier League football. And of course, in the last couple of days of the transfer window as well, you feel it's going to be busy, particularly for those teams down the bottom, in the Premier League, the Forest and the West Hams of this world, plus the usual busyness throughout the Championship, of course. And all that will be followed throughout Monday, deadline day, across the Talksport network. Here come Leicester on that right-hand side. They could do with a few new faces. Whether they can afford them or not is a different matter. On that far side, it's Fatawu. He's got Winks outside of him, tries to play a clever ball into Pereira, who had gone on the run on the inside channel, but it was cut out by Charlton, and Bell gets it away. And they look a little bit more comfortable in this flat back four and able to deal with the challenges offered up by Leicester. Doherty on the charge, he's just overrun that straight to the feet of Nelson. And Nelson now can set Mavididi away down this left-hand side. Mavididi taking on Clark. Clark already in a yellow, of course. Mavididi still going. Gets it across to Winks. Right edge of the penalty area. Mavididi's continued his run. Winks in towards Ayew. Nodded down. Almost picked up by Pereira. Foul inside the box. Pereira's penalised, much to his anguish. And it will be a free kick for Charlton inside the penalty area. Couple of changes coming for Leicester. Daka's coming on to the field of play, as is Jeremy Monga. And again, Ayew is taken off, and you can listen to the roar as Ayew is substituted.
It's not particularly what you want to hear as a player, although there's the unfortunate side of it, because for me, Daka, he works so hard, he is rapid, but when you're trying to get back into a game, he's probably not the player that you think he's going to get me a goal. And that's some of the issue in terms of Leicester City in general, the lack of succession plan to replace Jamie Vardy. It's just never happened, and they've not got that striker that you really think can get you 15, 20 goals a season.
I guess at one point they thought that was going to be Patson Daka, wasn't it? They paid £20 million for him, didn't they?
Yeah, and I get that, but then experience shows you that he's not been that player, and sometimes you need to cut your losses and sell players on, and it's not necessarily a reflection always on the player, but it might just not work in that situation. But as we spoke about earlier, they've spent a lot of money, Leicester City, on players that they've let go on frees, and so you're looking again back at the recruitment, the hierarchy, and the right times to keep, the right times to sell on, and they've not got that right in the last 7 or 8 years.
Jeremy Monga on as well for Mavididi, so he'll play out wide on this left-hand side. Daka, of course, down the middle, replacing Jordan Ayew. Aluko with a shove in the back on that far side of Lyndon Dykes, and it will be a free kick for Charlton. Is it on that far side? Aluko, who's gone down, holding his face. It will be, as we said, a free kick for Charlton. There's a big goal for Bradford. Tyreek Wright has scored 9 minutes before time in that game against Doncaster at the at Valley Parade, of course. And they lead by a 1-0. It could be a big win for Bradford, and a few more Leicester fans making their way to the exits.
Yeah, I think they've seen enough. To be fair, it's been a lot better in the second half, but I think you feel now that Charlton have really weathered the storm, and it's going to be always a long way back with 10 players, but the physical outputs as well is something that's important to think about.
Here's Winks over halfway. He's caught by Ramsey, fair and square, says the referee. He wins the ball. It's a really good challenge from Kane Ramsey. Now Reece Campbell on that far side tries to play an early ball through to Godden, but Godden's never getting to that. Way too much on it, and had a play for a goal kick to Stolarczyk away to our right hand side. Still 2-0 to Charlton against the 10 men of Leicester. And it's again more people just getting ready to depart. And no surprise. And I'll say there'll be a chorus of boos at full time. There will for what's left, but that actually may be drowned out by the travelling Charlton supporters in that far corner who've travelled in real numbers from South East London. And they've not seen their team win since October away from the Valley, so this will be very welcome. They've only won one of their last 7 in the Championship. In fact, 2 wins in the last 14 in total. And they're conceding goals left, right and centre. They may actually get a clean sheet today, which would be quite remarkable, really.
It would, and I think regardless of which way it comes, you always want that confidence. The clean sheet obviously means so much to the team first and foremost, but especially for the goalkeeper and the defenders, so it'll certainly be welcome.
Don't score many goals either. Only Sheffield Wednesday, Portsmouth and Blackburn have scored fewer goals than what Charlton have in the Championship. It was always going to be a big ask settling back into life, that division higher. There is a big step up between League One and the Championship, unless you're in a position to throw oodles of money at it. Just ask Wrexham and Birmingham, who still at times this season have found it quite tough, even with lots of money to throw at it.
Yeah, exactly. It's an unrelenting league, and Wrexham are obviously faring better in terms of the league table than Birmingham, and it's by no means having lots of money to throw at. As you say, a way to push yourself up the table in the Championship.
And the Championship is so tight, as we mentioned at the start today. All the woes of Leicester and Saki Marty Cifuentes, only 6 points outside the playoffs. It's so concertinaed, anybody can beat anybody, as the likes of Coventry, who were sailing away, have found in the last few weeks. Defeat on Monday night against Norwich, meaning that lead at the top has become imperilously smaller than it was previously. They'll try and extend it this afternoon with a game at Queen's Park Rangers, which is coming up live for you from 3 o'clock here on Talksport 2. 9 minutes left right here at the King Power. Leicester 0, Charlton 2. Lloyd Jones has gone down with a problem. Nathan Jones is getting involved in discussion with Andy King and the fourth official on the touchline below, and I think Andy King's walked away. Nathan Jones is still going. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah, I mean, Andy King wasn't happy initially, and the thing is, I understand that you don't want players to go down to try and waste time, but you look at this does Charlton no favours. Jones going down, he's going to have to obviously come off because he's being treated by the physios, so he's not doing it for the sake of it to waste time, I don't think. This is a case of he is injured, and if anything, it does Charlton a little bit of a disservice in the moment when Leicester City are trying to get themselves back in the game.
Bristol Rovers have a third against Newport in League 2 in our early kickoffs today. And if you're at a loose end tomorrow evening around 5 o'clock and you fancy watching some Serie A action, well, you can on the Talksport YouTube channel in partnership with DAZN. Cremonese against Inter is our live game for you. Inter, of course, top of the tree as things stand at Serie A. And he had a good performance in midweek as well in the Champions League 2, having been humbled the week before by Arsenal. But that game live on the Talksport YouTube channel in partnership with DAZN from 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
I think there's quite a big contingent of Leicester fans actually going out to watch that, so I've heard.
Ah, okay. Any reason?
Mr. Vardy.
Oh, that's the only reason, of course, yes. I wasn't thinking for a minute then.
And the sun.
So you can watch Jamie Vardy, can't you? Yeah. Why have you not gone? Because you're getting ready for a little holiday coming, aren't you?
I've got some work to do, and then I'll be on the snow.
What they wouldn't give here for Jamie Vardy right now.
Exactly. I mean, they obviously got so much out of him, and he's such an incredible footballer, but it still, points back to me a lack of forethought about when he does finally, whether it was to retire or leave Leicester, what was the next plan, and that wasn't done well enough.
Do you think they ever thought he would leave? Was that probably part of the issue?
Probably.
Did they think, whatever happens, even if we go back down to the Championship, he'll probably want to stay?
Maybe, but I think at 36, 37, you've also got to think about that plan going forward, because don't get me wrong, he's still chipped in with his fair amount of goals, but he had a few injuries more so than he's had previously, so the signs were there.
Dykes on the charge here to try and get after a long ball through, which is gathered by Stolarczyk. We are 6 minutes away, plus stoppage time, from a final whistle here that I'm pretty sure will be greeted with some contempt by the Leicester fans. They trail 2-0 at home against Charlton. Left-footed shot from Fatawu is blocked at the edge of the penalty area and away by Jones, who is in some discomfort. He's limping his way forward. I'm surprised that Nathan Jones hasn't opted to try and make a change. Godden on that far side just to keep the ball in. Has support arriving from Doherty. Here's Tyrese Campbell. Ball at feet. On the move towards the edge of the penalty area. Connor Coventry there just to slow things down in the centre of that midfield. Godden helps it on to Campbell again. Dykes is in the middle. Campbell by the corner flag. Goes back to Coventry. And all the way back towards halfway. Not a player who'll be well received in these parts, given his surname. Coventry again. Finds Ramsey. Right edge of the centre circle. Here's Harry Clark. Played his part in that first half, Harry Clark. Particularly for that opening goal of the game from Sonny Carey. And should have had a goal of his own. But ruled out wrongly by the referee for a foul that just wasn't existent in any way, shape or form. 5 to go. Leicester 0, Charlton 2. So Jones looks really uncomfortable as the breeze starts to get up here at the King Power. Nelson has it for Leicester inside the centre circle. They've not been breached in this second half, and if anything, they've looked the side more likely to score. They've missed a penalty as well, of course. Jordan Ayew slamming it against the post. Here's Mongo on the charge into the penalty area. The shot goes. Page just fires one which literally was rising all the time. Looked destined for the top corner, but in the end just had a little too much on it, and it sails over the crossbar.
I thought for all the while that was heading like a rifle into that top right-hand corner, and that definitely would have made the last 5 or so minutes interesting. Strikes it ever so well. Just rises that little bit too high. It's just interesting as well, just seeing Harry Clark go down with cramp. So you can see in terms of physically what is taken out of these Charlton players, and it looks like there is going to be a change made by Nathan Jones. Will it be Clark or will it be Jones?
Yeah, well, I think that's the problem, isn't it? I think a few of them, like Harry Clark coming in on loan, he's not played much, of course, for Ipswich. So just trying to get through 90 minutes when you pick up a new player on loan is a real challenge for these players.
It's difficult, and as I say, there is no substitute for match fitness.
Well, Charlton will be up to 18th in the table on 35 points if it stays the way it is. Leicester will be overtaken by Southampton, who are winning, of course, at Stoke by 2-0. And it's going to be the introduction of another substitute, and it's Gillespie who's on, and he does replace Nathan. Is it Nathan Jones who's gone off on that far side?
I think it's Lyndon Dykes.
No, it is Dykes who's departed, yeah. Well, he's got 2 players wandering around in discomfort in his back line, but he has sent on another centre half. So it looks like we've gone back to having 3 centre halves again now, with Gillespie coming onto the field of play.
And watch Clark as well. While the substitute was being made, he went over and got himself an energy gel. Yeah, so
how quickly do they actually work there if you've got cramp?
They actually work really quickly.
Have you ever found one that tastes nice?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Let's not do brand names. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we can't do that later.
Not that I need them for of the great athleticism and running that I do, but I know people who are always looking for gels that actually taste okay. But I didn't know they were that instant, you see. That's quite... I thought you may have had some pickle juice, because that's instant, isn't it, for cramp?
That and sour cherry juice, but we digress.
Oh, OK, we do. Anyway, Clark looks like he's all right now. Whatever it was some kind of miracle cure. 2 minutes to go to half-time. To full-time, should I say. Leicester 0, Charlton 2, as things stand. And Charlton have just managed this last 25 minutes really well. After that early onslaught in the second half from Leicester, they have just took the sting out of the game, calmed things down, and are going to get a very nice and very welcome 3 points to take back on the long journey to South East London, because it's an awkward old place to get to, is the Valley. Tyrese Campbell now out wide on this right-hand side, doesn't quite get to that header. That's helped on its way towards Godden, who's now in that central role. On that far side, Fevrier on the charge. On his left foot, just teasing, gets the crossover. Campbell gets the header and actually ends up, well, first of all he put his boot up thinking he was going to try and volley it, ended up heading it sideways straight back towards where the cross had come from.
It's one of the most awkward things I've ever seen. He almost plants on his head rather than him heading the ball, if that makes sense. And you're right, his left foot comes off and you just don't know what's going on.
A couple of goals this season for Tyrese Campbell against Birmingham and Derby, of course, a trainee born in London but eligible to play for Jamaica, which he has been doing. Just 22 years of age, still learning his game. Here's Nelson under pressure from Godden, finds Aluko. We're in the last 30 seconds of the 90 at King Power. Back with Aluko again. Here's Stolarczyk away to our right hand side, and it is the Charlton fans who are piping up in that far corner, and there are so few Leicester fans left. It won't surprise me if that noise. I mean, literally all around the King Power Stadium there are swathes and swathes of empty seats that are continuing to empty as we speak, and as that clock ticks down. We're going to have 6 added minutes from referee Andrew Kitchen. More punishment for the 10 of Leicester, who trail here by 2-0. Patson Daka trying to link up with Winks there. Cleared away by Gillespie on that far side. Fevriero's on the charge, but Aluko has it covered. Goes back to Stolarczyk away to our right-hand side. Don't forget, more Premier League football for you on the way tonight. 8 o'clock, Liverpool, Newcastle. Game day exclusive from Anfield. Should be a cracker. Stuart Pearce on the team tonight. Build up from 7:30, underway from 8 o'clock. Here's Harry Clark, right by his own corner flag. Gets it out as far as Godden after a little flick on that time from Doherty in midfield, who's feeling the tempo a little bit as well. On that left-hand side is Amari Bell. It looks like he's moved out now into a left wing-back position for this Charlton side, who've changed formation and setup I don't know how many times during this second half. Here is Bell on to Fevrier on that far side. It's back again with Gillespie, and now to this right hand side where it's picked out by Jones, and here's Ramsey. Over halfway is Tyrese Campbell. We're 90 seconds into 6 added minutes at the King Power. Godden gets the flick on, but everyone is inside their own half. A lot of effort went into that flick on from Matty Godden, but there was no one chasing him.
He just looked around as if to say, what is the point? But look, you can't blame Charlton. Got to get 11 behind the ball now and just see this out. But I'm impressed in the second half how they've managed the game. I think they easily, not necessarily easily, but they could have wilted with all the pressure Leicester were putting on in the early stages. And although there was a lot of pressure, they never really looked in too much trouble. Kaminski didn't really have too much to do, and that's credit to them, the way they managed the big moments.
This will be 2 wins in 9 in the Championship for Leicester. 4 games without a victory, 1 draw and 3 defeats in the Championship. It's not a run that's going to propel them where they want to be, and if and when that point deduction comes, the bottom of the table is going to be edging closer and closer to this Leicester City side. 2-0 Charlton lead here, and it's going to be away to our left hand side, another goal kick which will be taken by Kaminski for Charlton. So they'll move on to 35 points, just 3 behind Leicester in the Championship table, and it is going to be Kaminski who's looking to try and keep his 9th clean sheet in the Championship this season. Leicester did go behind down at Oxford earlier in the campaign when they were 2-1 down in the game. They were down to 10 men as well, but on that occasion Ricardo Pereira managed to pop up at the start of the second half with an equaliser, and actually on that occasion they could well have won the game. So they have played with 10 men and played well with 10 men earlier this season, but not today. Once Charlton were 2 in front with a man advantage, there was only one way this game was really going to go, as Aluko just sees the ball out into touch away to our right hand side. What next though, Courtney? I'm guessing trying to get a manager in quickly is part of the problem, and also what can they do player wise between now and 7 o'clock on Monday night?
Exactly, I think player wise they're very much struggling in terms of obviously the interview that Top gave, and in terms of everything that they're trying to comply with financially. It's to get a manager in as quickly as possible, but it goes back to the question that we spoke about before the game. Who wants to come here knowing what they've seen already, but obviously the impending potential points deduction too? So I'm not really sure who really wants to step into quite a mess of a situation, quite frankly.
2 minutes of added time to play. They're on the charge here, the visitors. Fevrier down that left hand side. He's got support in the box. Campbell's there. Doherty's arrived. Godden's waiting to help out too. Held the ball well by the corner flag. And then in the end wins Charlton a throw, level with a penalty spot on that far side. Huge applause from the travelling support in that far corner away to our left hand side. They've had a cracking day out. It'd have been an early start to make their way up the M1 motorway to the East Midlands for those Charlton supporters. And it's an away day that's going to end in 3 points, a big smile, and a stop off at some services on the way back, I suspect.
There'll be a certainly rowdy few buses heading back down the M1, but they deserve it. I mean, the fans first and foremost have been excellent all the way through, but obviously that's easier when you've got something to cheer for. But players as well, as I mentioned, performed really well under different situations in terms of starting off aggressive and on the front foot, and then having to soak up some pressure but managing the game in the big moments really well.
Inside the last minute of added time, on this near side, it will be a throw to Charlton, level with the edge of their own penalty area. All the noise coming from the travelling support in the far corner. There are very few Leicester fans left in the stadium as we welcome listeners to Talksport. We're in the final 20 seconds or so. It's Leicester 0, Charlton 2 at an almost deserted King Power Stadium. A red card early on for Caleb Okoli. Well-deserved red card as well. 2 goals in that first half from Charlton, who were by far and away the better side. Should have been 3, but a perfectly good goal disallowed by Andrew Kitchen. And there is that full-time whistle. And it's a full-time whistle. It is greeted with boos. But the celebrations of the Charlton supporters in that far corner as they get their first away win in the Championship since the 21st of October almost drowned out the boos of the annoyed and disconsolate Leicester supporters around us. Another dreadful performance from their side. It's another defeat. It's 4 without a victory, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, and a side that's in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, and I'm just looking to my right and I can see Top, and I think that tells a story of him shaking his head, and he probably doesn't know where to go from here. But as I say, you've got to give credit to Charlton. They've been excellent today, but silly mistakes. Same old story for Leicester City. Tried to get back into the game, but yeah, I sympathise with the Leicester City fans at the minute because I don't know where you go from here.
Well, we shall see if they can get a manager in charge. Not the best of starts for the interim boss Andy King, 10 years after winning the Premier League. His first game has ended in a shattering defeat. Full time at the King Power, Leicester 0, Charlton 2.
Well, is this the start of a spiral for Leicester City? Another defeat at home and a battle at the bottom of the table beckons. For Charlton, though, a huge result. They move up to 18th and within 3 points of the Foxes. Courtney, another defeat for Leicester, a silly red card. Charlton in control for most of the game. The decision to take IU off, cheered by the Leicester fans. Given the impending potential points deduction, just how worried should those Leicester City fans be right now?
Very. For numerous reasons. I think you look at that, and as a manager, or looking at that from the outside, do you want to come into that? Looks very toxic in an atmosphere when players are being booed as they're coming off by the home fans. I never think that's a good situation to be in, for sure. In terms of the play, there were moments in the game where they looked good in the second half, Leicester, but what worries me about that is nothing really changed tactically. So then again, that points to effort for me. So why can't you do it in the first half? Why does it change to the second half when your backs are against the wall and you get that feeling that you need to pull something out the bag? And I'm watching the Leicester players now walking around applauding the fans, and I say the fans, there's barely anyone in here, and they've had enough with this, the fans. I'm looking over to my right and I'm seeing Top shaking his head because I don't think he quite knows where to go. So I sat there and I think I mentioned it, to be fair, before the game. I didn't think they'd get relegated, but you're looking at this, and then depending on how much the points deduction is, if that does come, and the feeling within the club, I'd be very, very worried as a Leicester City fan right now.
Well, if it's a big points deduction, Courtney, then it could prove to be serious trouble for Leicester. In terms of the new manager coming in, the likes of Russell Martin, Vitor Pereira and Derek McInnes have all been linked, but whoever comes in, Adam made the point in commentary, the board need to act fast.
Yeah, but again, we're speaking about the PSR and the financial constraints, so they need to act fast, but do they have the capacity or the capability to that? Russell Martin potentially with this set of players, because they are players that play in that certain way, or a lot of them have played in that way under Maresca, so I sort of understand that works. Vitor Pereira maybe in terms of, you look at his situation at Wolves when he first came in, back against the wall moment, but either way, I'm looking at this as a manager coming into this, they need help with the hierarchy. And I'm not sure if the hierarchy can give them that. And I think Adam mentioned it as well, the lack of, in terms of the director of football and those sort of roles. It's so difficult to come into this now with the weight of expectation that the fans have as well. Winning a Premier League 10 years ago, winning an FA Cup. So the expectation, but in reality, what's here, it's going to be so difficult for anyone that steps into this job.
And I tell you what a win that is for Charlton too. A big 3 points in their fight against the drop.
Yeah, it's massive, and they deserved it. We can talk about the red card, although they deserved it. I mean, in terms of Okoli, it was a red card. It's as simple as that. They had a goal disallowed, so actually they'll probably feel hard done to Charlton in that way. But we saw two different types of performances. We saw the aggressive start before they went down to 10 players and wanted to go on the front foot and actually sensing that Leicester are in a bad situation. We saw the change of the 10 men and still being aggressive and then making sure that they got those goals, and then in the second half soaking up the pressure, although without Kaminsky, in all fairness, ever looking worried in terms of having to make massive saves. So they've dug in the second half. They've managed moments well. There's a moment probably 5 minutes ago where Fevrier does really well, goes down the left hand side, keeps the ball, keeps it in the corner. A couple of moments where Clark as well, even though he was on a yellow card and went into right back, there's moments where he looked really composed and found a forward line. So very, very impressed with the performance, and obviously I think the clean sheet will be very happy for Nathan Jones to see that as well.
Adam Bridge, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, thank you very much indeed. What a start then to our Championship afternoon on Talksport 2. Leicester City, who are down to 10 men, have been beaten at the King Power by Charlton Athletic, 2-0. The scoreline there. Elsewhere in the 12:30 kickoffs in the Championship, it finished Sheffield Wednesday 0, Wrexham 1 at Hillsborough, and Stoke 0, Southampton 2. Right, next over on Talksport, Adrian Durham brings you all the goals as they go in on Game Day Live from the EFL. But you can stick with us for more Championship action. Our second commentary of the day is next here on Talksport 2 as leaders Coventry travel to QPR.